Also, the Leshrac has a pretty good lane versus Lena mid, so I suppose it justifies the pick this early on. But what I'm looking at from Vici's draft is actually not their typical late game style at all, right? This is a run at you. We're going to take your towers and try to get the first couple of roches and just overpower you. And we have not seen Vici do that.
No, we have not. Ursa versus Monkey King, also a matchup Lacoste loves talking about.
Oh, yes. We don't know if this is going to be a position 1 monkey. Looks like it because it's paired up with the Magnus, which is the combination that I really love. You come online so quickly. Most of the time it's just the Echo Saber build where you become so tanky, double hit. You're also able to clear the Ancients with, but Ursa one of the few heroes that can stand inside the Wukong's command and actually fight you. This time around, Vici Gaming, they will be playing the Radiant, which means you have Ursa. Once the tier 1 towers, your safe lane tower falls, you can push like the top part of the map and threaten the Roshan, because where you're going to be playing is the top part of the map, which means that you're always going to be around the Roche. There is like one fight that breaks out, you kill 1 or 2 heroes, allows Ursa plus Leshrac, which is ton of damage, to kill the Roshan. So T1 will need to be very careful about it. Enchantress can be that hero that scout things out inside the pit with one of her creeps, so this is what they will need to do.
And this would have been a really good Doom game, but T1 banned it out. Also, interestingly enough, Vici banned Faceless Void, so they don't actually think it's the carry Monkey King.
Yeah, because as Lacoste says, you can always flex it out, and if this matchup is bad, just go for a better core-to-core. And if that's the case, Lacoste, we'll be seeing against this Ursa. What kind of carry do you want?
Do you want to pick? I still feel like this, should be a position 1 monkey. Sometimes what we see from the bans is they ban a carry hero that they don't like to play into, and then they play, and they cover some of the weaknesses of the draft.
Right.
Fair enough.
So, something Vici lack right now is a proper way to take a fight, because yes, you will have your Leshrac running in, but you do need some kind of Jenkins. You do need some kind of blink stun, and they ban out Doom and Earthshaker, so they're going to need some kind of tanky offlaner who can take these fights for them. There is still Mars left in the pool, but he isn't that synergistic with the heroes that they have at the moment.
Is Lycan still?
He is, I believe.
Yeah, and the Ursa Lycan's a combo we've seen before. It is an old 11's hero pool.
The Wolf Bear.
The Wolf Bear.
Will it make a return?
Do you think that is a decent Lycan game? I know he's not great against Monkey King carry.
Yeah, so as we've said, they covered the weaknesses of their draft, so they decided to go with the Faceless Void and Shadow Demon, so that's position 1 and 4. Another way of dispelling things, Shadow Demon has a built-in dispel, also one of the heroes that kind of ruin Ursa, because you can put him down in the disruption and also slow him, which is not dispellable. So I really like what they did. I don't think they would go for Shadow Demon in this situation. I would love them to get like a position 4 that can fight. Maybe something like, Lion's still available, right?
Do you?
No, I just wanted to say, because you brought up Lycan, the thing that made their Lycan so successful versus Evil Geniuses is that when he ran his units at the Skywrath Mage, he instantly died, right? But if you run your units at Enchantress, they're max move speed, but they don't have max attack speed or anything like that. It's not like you're going to clear these backlines out instantly. And if it does end up being a support Monkey King, he's just going to be in the trees, and I hope it isn't, right? So, and if they do have this last pick for their 4 hero, I don't think it'll be a Lycan.
Oh, it's gonna be a Razor instead.
So it is.
That's the carrier Razor.
Okay, so Razor is very good versus Ursa for obvious reasons, but to those at home who don't know, Razor can just use Static Link on Ursa and drain all of his damage, and Ursa's a melee carry, so he doesn't necessarily have a means to disengage. Also, Omni Knight and Ruvik are not natural 4-staff builders, but they're going to have to go to that if they're going to play versus Razor.
That's a very good point. Could we get shot on Rubik to fulfill that role of a 4-staff?
Eventually, maybe that would do well. Thinking about the offlaners that can lane against Razor, there aren't many, because yesterday we saw Magnus was like the great pick. This time around, T1 already has the hero. It's very hard, and that was the EG series that I'm talking about. Sometimes it feels really hard because most of the offlaners and what Vici wants is something strength that can get the jump.
Right.
Because they don't have a way to start a fight. Ursa running in, possibly Leshrac running in with the Omni Knight's Heavenly Grace. It's a tough one. I'd say they're in a spot where I don't see the hero that could go like, wow, yeah, this is it. He's gonna have a hard time. So they might need to play for sack the off lane, but still get some kind of initiation.
So the lane and the game are in contention.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, maybe like a Legion commander, because I really love 11's positioning whenever he's playing. It's still not a good matchup against the Razor, but you gotta have something. At least you have a spear to like push Razor back.
Yes, I wanted to say that Mars has become an obvious pick here because we see the Razor carry, and that's the only thing left in the pool that can be the Blink initiator, right? Elsie is just too defensive and doesn't really help with them running in. But they do pick it out. He rounds out the draft pretty much. Like, he can clear the trees of Monkey King, which is a bonus, so he can just knock him down, and it seems like a fine pick. I'm just concerned about VG Gaming's ability to outscale or outgrade T1.
For you, Lacoste, tell me this. She's worried. Tell me the strengths of...
I don't like that they also picked two range cores with the Empower. I would prefer if it's something melee, so that's a big downside of their lineup. With this Mars, I think VG Gaming that they have, I think I misread the situation with Mars being available. So yeah, I like that. And also threatening a Roche kill, choosing where you want to fight, resetting multiple times with Omni Knight and Ursa, like they like to go in and out of the fights. So yeah, I'm slightly favoring VG Gaming.
Do you think that the strengths of the template, have you talked about T1 or something?
Sure, but the VG Gaming also has no cooldowns. They can keep fighting all the time. There's Mars Arena and Omni Knight's ulti, that's it.
I didn't say T1 would play tempo, I said VG would.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Apologies. Right. As we're getting into game number 1, we're going to get the coach interview that we usually do with Frankie, as she is standing by with T1's coach, March.
Thank you very much, Avo. I've got March with me now, and I need to ask your reaction to that Omni Knight pick. It's the first time we've seen it here at TI10.
Yeah, it is the first time we've seen it, but we were actually brainstorming ourselves too. And then we were kind of predicting that hero.
So you didn't have to adjust your draft in any way to counter it? You already had it in the game plan?
I don't want to say so much, but it's not a surprise for us. The meta has been developed around the Magnus, and it was something that we were thinking about it as well.
Well, thank you so much for your time, March. Good luck. We are going to head it over to Cinderin and Sunsfan to get game number 1 underway.
Thank you very much, Frankie. Sunshine with Cinderin here. Vici versus T1. Best of 3, Cinderman. Are you ready to see Omni Knight?
Yes.
It's been about 2 months since he's been nerfed, and everybody forgot he existed until he was first 2 picked.
Yeah, so...
Tell me why.
Yeah, so what's interesting about this is that, there was some speculation about, okay, what's going to happen to Omni Knight when with the nerf that came in. Obviously, the biggest nerf for Omni Knight was the fact that Heavenly Grace can be dispelled. Used to be an insanely powerful ability. It is still a hard dispel. It still gives all the bonuses from before, but now you can itemize against it. You see for T1 in this game, they have Enchant, for example, that could remove it. But yeah, why is it first 2? Good question. Maybe VG Gaming see it as a counter to Magnus because of the hard dispel, which it's definitely very good. But yeah, I also see some potential pitfalls for the hero. Like Omni Knight, sometimes when played as a 5, which will be the case this game for DY, ends up not contributing as much in lane as you would like. And then if you're playing against heroes that just run at you, it can be very difficult to fight back. Like heroes with silences, heroes with burst, heroes with magic damage as well. And I feel like T1 have a pretty good mix of everything. So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited to see Omni. I thought it was a shame if the hero just disappeared entirely off that one nerf.
Yeah, no doubt. As we can see, an early split art here from Ori in the mid lane. Seen a lot of Lesh versus Lina. But to refresh everybody's memory, Cinderin, how do you like this matchup for respective sides here?
I think it's slightly Lina favored, but Leshrac is one of the heroes that fares the best. We need to keep in mind Lina wins almost every lane right now, so if you can somewhat break even, that I would consider that almost a win in a way. So Ori should be having an okay time here. Early on, however, Carl is managing to double wave him into the tower more or less, so should cost some CS there for Ori unless he has really good last hitting. Carl even finding the knives too, so off to a great start in mid. Ori has had some... For a player that had a reputation at previous TIs of being a stellar laner, this has not been Ori's best event from a laning perspective, and we're seeing here that Carl is just dwarfing him so far in this game, 6-4 against 2-0.
Yeah, still very early, and of course, Ori has bounced back in a lot of these games regardless.
Yeah.
We'll see how this ends up transpiring for him, but I mean, you haven't even talked about the lineups yet overall. We see Magnus again. This seems to be the hero of the tournament, which originally thought it would be Elder Titan, Tiny has had his time in the sun as well, but it seems like Magnus is getting the better of Tiny in a lot of these engagements. We saw in the last series skewers into Fountain, reminiscing of the old putt hook a little bit there.
Oh, Cuckoo actually almost killing Poyoyo here.
Yep, as we're going to see first blood. All right, old 11.
11 here.
Yeah, taken out by 23 Savage on the position 1 Razor. So picking Razor, again, I mean, obviously in lane against any melee hero is going to be pretty successful, and then late game, it feels like more of a anti-hero or anti-carry against the Ursa, since it is melee as well. As Poyoyo taking so much damage, has to force out the Fairy Fire here just to survive. So getting punished pretty early in the laning stage here.
Omni Knight does not fare well in this lane. You're going to be hard-pressed to help your Ursa with anything more than a Purification. The Heavenly Grace can be dispelled by Enchantress, so Cuckoo will have a total free time down here, and that's bad news if you're playing Ursa against a melee hero that you can't even pressure him, but I just don't see it right now for their lane. Maybe with some more levels. But there's like the double whammy even with Enchant, right? You can also purge off Overpower, so
yeah,
got to be really wise with how you cast your spells for each gaming in that bottom lane. Pressure top again, Zephyr almost getting the Jingu stacks.
Yep, of course, seeing that position 4 Monkey King, which, again, one of the big heroes of the tournament as well. I mean, I guess the biggest difference with him and Magnus is we've seen him position 1, so he has a lot more flexibility. And we've seen mid Magnus before this tournament, not so much in the last month or so, but interested to see like what hero flexibility they'll be going for, because as the tournaments typically progress, it becomes narrower and narrower in scope. Yeah, but considering how flexible heroes are now versus even 2 years ago, expecting that to perhaps change a little bit here.
I would say one of the things about Magnus just makes him so incredible is that almost no matter what role you play him in, Horn Toss is just proving to be the shard of the game right now. It is incredible, and honestly, it feels like RP is kind of a luxury at this point.
Yeah, sure.
Like, Horn Toss is the real RP. Oh, good damage onto DY. Gets the skewer.
Shockwave into skewer. DY TP's away to safety. Oh, okay, never mind. Impetus, just enough damage there.
He did get sent to safety.
True.
He'll be back to safety.
The fact that he used the TP is very sad for Vici, because he has to do the old walk of shame.
Good old big bad news. Oh my god, Ori is getting owned.
Yeah.
I just realized
9-3 to 24-14.
If you're new to Dota, this is not a slight win. I said it's slightly Lina favored.
Is that a Gaben level win?
That is a very, very stompy performance so far from Carl.
Oh, what about the comeback potential from Lesh? Because typically you want to be the one pushing the wave and doing some damage to the tower here. Okay, they're going to trade stuns here, but the tomato coming in from afar. We'll see DY. Yeah, forcing back Carl, but doesn't really offer that much or any harassment because he is an Omni Knight after all.
So in terms of
Zephyr, yeah, he's going to get pinned to the tree and brought down. So Vici Gaming getting their first kill of this series.
In terms of comeback potential for the left track, the way you usually get that is by farming some camps in the jungle with Pulse Nova. The problem is Lina has found 14 denies, so Carl is 3/4 of a level ahead, and once he hits level 6, any rotation from Enchantress with a creep, or even without, just with an enchant, should be enough to set up a kill on the Lesh for Lina. Even going to get a bottle refill here brought in from Zephyr.
Yeah, Carl absolutely crushing right now. We'll see if he's able to actually snowball this. I mean, we've seen some great performances in the laning stage, and it kind of tapers off because they don't end up getting that kind of little extra...
Poyoyo bottom.
Poyoyo again, getting the shockwave applied. I mean, look at his CS, but he's at 20-2 versus the 22-7 of 23 Savage's Razor. But that is a Razor. He's not really that great of a farmer. I mean, neither are really. As there's the Heavenly Grace applied to Poyoyo.
And Whitemon is going for that rotation mid now, so is pinging out. He wants to go for Lash. He has the boots on Ench.
And the old
He'll walk for a ward.
Ripper.
So Ori knows that this is coming and this rotation from Whitemon will not be successful, but if nothing else, Ori is not farming the wave right now. Carl will get the rune as well. Illusion bottom whenever he wants. Whitemon gonna start pressuring PYW. Zephyr actually cutting in behind as well.
Yeah, they're gonna clear the trees a bit here. DY showing himself Laguna Blade, and down goes the Omni Knight. Only level 3. So setting himself up there to just get killed right off the bat. But as long as it's not their mid hero, then perhaps they'll be fine with that.
Middle tower
This is still looking really bad for me. 2 minutes in. 6 minutes in, sorry. It is 2K.
2K already, yeah.
You're
and
losing
look at the damage to the tower
at
as well.
6. Almost. You're not fully losing it here, but it's going to be pretty damn close, so any move later will get it done. Oh, actually, wait, that's an enchanted creep, not a normal melee creep, so a lot tankier, but they will still hold. Yeah, it's just all T1 right now. One of the biggest leads we've seen in the whole tournament, minute 7. Winning all 3 lanes, almost getting mid tower. They have a strong scaling lineup with some of the strongest heroes of the tournament in Magnus and Lina. It is...
Yeah,
we're gonna need
Ori trying to catch up in the jungle here. Nice telekinesis onto Whitemon. Will the Pulse Nova be enough? It looks like it will. Wait, yep. Just in range for that last tick of damage as the Wild Wing Ripper doing some damage in turn. So, at the very least for Vici Gaming, another mid laner starting to get back into the fray of things a bit, but again, it's really about Carl right now. Has only found the... Actually, it was an assist. He didn't actually get the kill on the Omni Knight.
He gets the mid tower there. 11 tried to TP in for the deny, but got stunned immediately on arrival. The creep wave got the tower, so...
Another bottle refill for Carl.
Yep.
He's getting everything that he wants right now.
Absolutely. I mean, he's over 1,000 net worth ahead, or exactly 1,000. No, more than 1,000 ahead.
Just going to provide procs for Zephyr.
Yep, thank you. They're making moves bottom, whereas Razor and Lina are just going to town on creeps. Carl gonna get what looks to be a 9-minute 30 boots of travel here with the next wave. For comparison, Leshrac sitting on brown boots and 400 gold on the way to a first item Yules he's hovering right now. And you gotta wonder, from Vici again, I understand they make this 5-man rotation to bottom because they're a little bit desperate to find fights. Their lineup needs to play fast. I don't know if they can just sit back and farm a dagger on Mars so that, okay, now we can make a move finally because we have a reliable catch.
You're just going to be down by even more than 3k
exactly.
At that point.
You draft it in a way that puts you under pressure inherently, and if your lanes go badly, if you play a snowball lineup and you lose all 3 lanes, times are tough, you know? Yeah. I don't think Vici Gaming are going to win this
Not
game
to harp on the Omni Knight pick either, but the fact that you're behind, Omni Knight's not really going to help you get back in most cases.
No, he helps like a sustain, but not set up. Exactly. He doesn't make plays. 11.
Whitemon is going to find Old 11 here. Cuckoo with the shockwave. Old 11 might be resigned to his death, but Ori comes in with that Pulse Nova, doing quite a bit of damage. But the RP does come out. Laguna Blade, not enough to kill Old 11. Dies shortly after the Boundless Strike onto Ori, now completely out of mana. Shockwave back into the fray. This is going to be a 1-for-1, or 2-for-0, as T1 just continuing their dominance in this early game.
Wait, which one was it? Was it 1-for-1 or 2-for-0?
It depends on... it's a 2-for-0.
Okay. Depends on what?
It's an exchange of 0-for-0.
What?
I don't know.
0-for-0.
Cinderin,
pleasure doing business with you.
Just move on, okay?
How does that interaction work? How do you trade nothing with another person?
Well,
is there even
stealing?
a trade?
That's something.
Oh, then they have to steal it back, or it's nothing.
You got to figure that out for yourself. Don't get that.
Does not compute.
Yeah, runtime error for Cinderin. It's okay.
That's fine.
Sometimes things don't make sense.
5k lead. Surprisingly enough, good old statsman Gaben only gives them 62% of this.
Okay.
So does believe in the Vici Gaming comeback in quite a lot of games. This is a monumental lead for a Magnus lineup, minute 10 usually, but maybe it's the potential teamfight prowess of the Radiant lineup once the right items come out that give them a decent amount of win probability here still. So all eyes for me are on Ursa as well as the Mars Dagger. You need to get a good timing on the Omni Knight Heavenly Grace onto the Ursa so that he can go and find kills. He needs the Diffusal Blade that he's working on. Still far away though.
Yeah.
And the Mag Daggers to set them up. So maybe we see them do a rotation top, however. They are starting to move some heroes up toward that area to begin a siege once
Honestly,
again.
it feels like BKB for T1 is almost a game ender in a lot of ways. There's not much you can do from Vici Gaming's perspective.
Good.
Like, their big setup is the Mars Arena, because, like, look at Ursa's perspective here. Razor is a terrible matchup late game. Razor is just so fast, he can just walk around and static link you. And Lina's super fast as well. So really, the Mars Arena is the big setup, but once BKBs come online, it's going to be really hard for Vici from a draft perspective.
Dire are scanning.
CPYW and company in the triangle, trying to get Poyoyo back on track. 4th in net worth right now, but top of his team.
I love Rubik Tree Dance. It looks so goofy. I'm sorry. He looks like he never jumped in his life.
Get a highlight of that one, Cinder.
I can relate to that. I'm not a very athletic person. This is how I would imagine myself tree dancing.
I don't know if that's true. I feel like Clockwork doing that would make more sense for you, but that's just me.
Yeah, that isn't just you.
Maybe not. Carl's got his boots of travel, working on the BKB now. And I mean, you talked about the fact that Empower doesn't necessarily have to be for a melee hero, especially with Lina's attack speed.
Magda will definitely evolve from a hero now that was picked primarily to empower a melee carry to now being a utility hero with catch, and then the empower is the icing on top, right? Like, you can pick melee range carries like Razor and Lina because empower still gives you the damage, and the main aspect of Magnus for the most part in the mid late game is horn toss as well as, you know, occasional RP. Power not necessary for the hero.
And the fact that Empower is more effective on yourself as well allows you to get some of that farm that's needed for the mobility. And smoke comes up from Vici. They were thinking about going for Roche, but have changed their mind here. Koyo going to show himself. 23 Savage in the vicinity as well. 23 Savage has the Falcon Blade going for BKB.
He is very tanky.
He has a refresher queued up after BKB. That's pretty fast.
He knows what he wants.
Absolutely.
He's so tanky though. 2k health. Minute 14 on Razor. He has about twice the health of Ursa for comparison. So an exceptionally hard kill from Ichi Gaming to get. And if they want that tower, they got to get through this guy. So he's just posturing aggressively up here, plasma fielding out the waves. Ultimately, Ichi Gaming just called the play off. Like, they don't see any potential move right now. Which is very concerning. Old 11, at least for them, close to the blink now. 300 to go. Maybe that can set something up.
PYW has his queued up as well, so they're going to have double blink not too far away. And from Koyoyo's perspective, Diffusal Blade still kind of a ways away. Still basically the recipe to go from here.
Yep.
So his farm has not been particularly good. And he's not exactly a farming hero either, because once you get the Diffusal, obviously you can get Roche anytime, but it's all about getting the kills for Ursa.
The good news for Koyoyo is that PYW is stolen power, so at the very least he's gonna,
that's handy. Okay.
He's gonna have a little bit of help here with finishing up side of
Laguna Blade. DY's dead.
Hot enough for you? Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Kuku and Carl now in the bot lane. They probably will go for this tier 1 bottom. See the win probability here. T1 off to an amazing start in today's lower bracket game.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
Do you remember that trivia question I asked you?
Oh my god, here we go.
Yesterday or 2 days ago about which hero has the same abilities that they've had the whole time in Dota?
Yes. Oh yeah, we got a lot of tweets about who that actually was.
I believe there's a couple, but from my perspective, there's one hero in this game, I think.
I guess Leshrac.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
I think Lina did not always have Fiery Soul,
No, I
but
don't think so.
apart from that, the kit is very, very similar.
Yeah.
And then it's also about like how do you define what's changed, right? Is Lightning Storm the same ability now that it has a slow? It didn't used to, but like in essence, it's the same hero, which honestly is a testament to some really cool hero design, right? Like a lot of the heroes have been rethought and reworked a little bit and changed skills, but some of the very, very old core heroes are still the same. Leshrac, honestly, one of my favorite hero designs of all time, and it's never been changed. So very, very cool hero. You would imagine that as Dota develops, a spell like Diabolic Edict would, you know, perhaps get reworked.
It changed damage type.
It changed damage type. If you go over damage type changes and everything, I think 0 heroes are the same. It is very close to being the same.
Except for the hidden gambler that's in the files.
Right. Let's see if I can find another example. Maybe Juggernaut is also the same. Did he always have
Omni Slash it does a different type of damage now.
Right.
It used to be a set amount every time. Set amount of hits off of
set amount of hits with bonus damage.
It is the same idea though. No, that's true. Anyway, back to the game. Vici Gaming obviously took Roshan. That's their big advantage. That's the one silver lining of this game. Is they do have Ursa to be able to do that. But what can they do with this Aegis in this time frame while being this behind? They do have the double blink daggers that we alluded to, so Old 11 and PYW kind of ready to go here, I would assume.
I think the play call here is you need a blink arena set up with a spear onto ideally Lina, but she has BKB, so that one's hard to accomplish. So I guess the second best target is Razor. He has BKB, so that's hard to accomplish. So that leaves the third best target to probably be Magnus. But more than anything, I think you need to group your heroes up a little bit if you want to start taking some buildings. We're 17 minutes in Leshrac has not taken a tier 1 tower. As a matter of fact, the best one he's got is half in mid. Oh, actually, they're a little bit ahead now bottom, but don't know if they're going to be able to finish that off. So,
Well, yeah, I mean, that mostly comes from
Okay, they're gonna make a big
the
move
level
now.
disadvantage that he had in lane. Just
23 Savage.
by W. Oh, old 11. I mean, he did force out the BKB, which didn't look like it was actually needed, but still, not the initiation you want if you're a Vici fan.
It's something. At
It
least
is
to force a BKB, right? Like, it's better than sitting back and just letting T1 do whatever they want. It's a lineup that is inherently relatively greedy. I think T1 are still super happy with what they managed to accomplish, and all of it really, the majority of what they've managed to do in this game happened in the first 5 minutes, right? It's just been set up for everything. And now Vici Gaming are like, screw it, we're gonna go for a big play. Gonna bring all 5 heroes top. The Shrek has a bit to go though, hold 11.
Yeah, Puka getting caught out, the spear into the trees, but he's gonna be left to his own devices. Zephyr gets out the Wukong's command in the meantime, just soloing up Puyoyo. Meanwhile, they're going to be able to take out the Mars pretty quickly here, but here comes Ori, almost out of mana. Carl pops the BKB, dodging the splitter. As a result, Cuckoo gets off the RP just at the last moment. Ori gets bursted down by the right clicks of his counterpart Carl in that mid lane, and Ursa looks to be next. That's first life down. T1 has only lost Magnus right now. Puyoyo wants to try to take somebody with him to the grave, but the LSA will shut that door. So 3 for 1, T1 advantage again.
If we do get a replay on that, pay attention to where Leshrac is when the fight breaks out. They get the lift, they get the spear, but Ursa's in front of the tier 1 when they spear the Magnus below the tree line, and Leshrac wasn't even there. It's like, I'm not sure what Vici Gaming were expecting to accomplish with that move without bringing their main damage to it. They will get a spear mid
Arena, this could be a really good pick for Vici. 23 Savage pops that BKB, and will live as a result. So they force out the second charge.
So essentially, Vici Gaming with that push, they opted to go for the tower because Razor didn't have BKB. You're going to see it here, right? So you get the spear in the bottom, but Ursa's caught in the top area of the map, and Leshrac still wasn't connected yet. They will go on Whitemon in live, though.
Yep, healing up quite a bit.
They got his
Is he
counter.
actually going to live through this? All right, the spear into the tree again. Stolen plasma field splitter. Goodbye. Takes them a while, but they'll take it.
All right. It is something, but still, no tower. I don't know what the stats are for this tournament for a team that has Leshrac to not have a tower at 20 minutes, but it's got to be... I feel like you never see this. It's just been total domination from T1.
Yeah, I mean, even if you don't get the mid tower, which we have seen from
at least get it
heroes that
safely.
don't get off to a good start, but yeah, the top lane specifically for Vici. Typically, you see like the trade, right? In a lot of cases, but
Under attack.
just not off to that good start that Vici Gaming has been accustomed to in this tournament for the most part.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
So from T1's perspective, 23 Savage, obviously he's had that BKB for a while. We'll be going for Halberd, so changes it up a bit. Not going straight for the refresher. But I actually love players that queue up like 10 items ahead of time, just so they don't forget, you know, what item to go for.
Where am I?
Where am I indeed?
Okay, trivia time.
Oh boy.
Is there? No, there's no trivia. There's been
No
more.
trivia. Will Mars die? Yes. Gets off an arena. And still relatively low cooldown, so
Okay, well. Alright.
does buy a little bit of time for Vici to make their way here, Cinder Man. I know you're really excited to do this trivia. You're
I
gonna have to
am.
wait.
I'm so
Telekinesis, BKB by Carl. Trying to turn this around now. Zephyr getting way too close.
That was a bit naive, I think. I don't know if he was just making sure to bail Carl out of trouble there by going in.
Yeah.
If that was the plan, at least it worked. But maybe he also had no trees to jump on. Look at this tree line in the right-hand side of the map, bottom right. All of it is just gone from the arena of blood.
Yeah, that's
That's just no trees.
that's actually quite
How are
massive.
you supposed
a lot
to
of
do it, right?
D-Force. Timbersaw would be really happy about that one.
Yeah. All right, Shannon. It's trivia time. Okay. You know my favorite trivia for this tournament so far has been,
Oh, boy,
what is the name of neutral item's passive abilities?
Yeah.
What is it for good old Horsey?
Tumbler toy?
Yeah.
What's the active call?
Yes.
Nay.
That would be a great name.
I know. I think of good names.
Okay, what if I tell you that it's very simple, and it's exactly what it does?
Bounce.
Vault.
Vault? Okay.
Called Vault.
That makes sense with horses as well. See the skewer onto PYW. Okay, he gets one of his own. but only going to delay the inevitable here.
All of Rubik's funny animations are in this game. When he's skewering, he's literally just surfing.
We're just missing a Bat Rider.
It's like he's lagging. It's just like going in a straight line with a thousand
I was a
ping,
little
but-
confused that there might be some lag there, but luckily for us, not. And 23 Savage not wanting to
He
give
is
up the
just
first
a
tower.
rock up here, standing there again.
All right, there's the arena. Whitemon stuck inside with the pulse nova from the side as well. Looks like he'll finally go down. Takes a while though. 23 Savage getting us aesthetically off Yo-Yo. We see the RP on the 2 from Cuckoo. Shockwave to fall. Beautiful balance strike on the 3. Devastate on follow. T1. Unbelievable synergy here. Triple kill for Carl. Old 11, the last remaining member for BG Gaming, but not for long. Just absolute god tier layering, Cinderin. That was nice.
Zephyr with the BM Yules as well, just for fun. Maybe he was trying to set up for Savage to get the kill.
And guess what? They defended their tier 1 tower still
Again.
at 24 minutes, Cinderin. We see
Yeah.
the replay here.
Okay, so this spear missing, it's not that big of a tragedy. I think, you know, Whitemon dies 2 seconds earlier if it hits, but they can't effectively get anything onto Savage. As soon as he links up the Ursa this fight, Yo-Yo has no damage and that Boundless. Just beautiful, right?
Oh, that was sick.
Wonderful follow-up to Cuckoo.
Absolutely filthy play.
Yep.
See the Guardian Angel come out a little bit too late. Obviously was just stun locked the entire time. But
All
just-
DY can do is smile. I first faced Omni Knight. That's the face of someone who
I
first faced
misclicked Omni Knight. LSA on the 23 Savage. Can they burst him down? So Yo-Yo's gonna get Yules. As a result, 23 Savage will live. So good attempt from Vici, but I mean, it seems like Ursa's bane, the bane of his existence, is Yules.
Yeah, it is a great item against him. Also, Yules is one of the only items in the game that doesn't get affected by status resistance.
Didn't used to be the case.
I believe that was indeed not the case at one point, but with it being, it's just a great counter to Enrage. Just heal him right away, buy yourself the time.
They're coming back in. Is T1 trying to build on his 10k lead? Old 11 jumps in. BKB by Carl. Yo-Yo stuck inside the arena, trying to right-click down 23 Savage. Gets off the static link though, and my goodness, Ori just melts every single way as Yo-Yo looks to be next. And T1 just absolute domination. That's a full team wipe with the buyback coming out from the Rubik. But PYW, all he can do is try to push out these lanes just a little bit. And T1, I mean, Roche won't be up for another minute. It's a little bit unlucky on the timings here.
Yeah.
Because denying that would obviously be big against any Ursa lineup in general.
There will be a chance for VG Gaming to find a fight there, but again, VG Gaming haven't won a fight all game. They're trying their best to set something up, but they're just too far behind. Both 23 Savage and Carl are so absurdly tanky. This is a 3k health Razor with 13 armor. Delina has 2.3, BKB Shiva. What damage do you have on Radiant? Like, how do you kill these heroes? I don't know. But what I do know, Shannon, is that I have another trivia question.
God! Hold your horses, Cinder, and PYW's dying! Alright, go ahead.
What is the name of the active of Arcane Ring?
Arcane. Oh, I used to know this one actually. Is it a dumb one?
No, it is very much what it does.
Okay, mana refresh.
That's not even correct grammar. Try again.
That doesn't always stop the
It has a verb in it.
Cinderin, why are you
It's
doing
an
this to
active.
me? Are you trying to embarrass me on live Twitch?
I would never do that.
Okay.
Never. It's called replenish mana.
Has been killed.
Okay.
So
I mean, refresh mana is not that wrong.
You said mana refresh. Like you were some sort of open sesame, like trying to chant the ring into working.
Well, we already talked about this. English zero language for me is there's the Yule setup. Zephyr. He's got the boundless strike and an easy kill for T1 again.
Alright, I was wrong.
Well, Ori does buy his BKB before he dies, I believe, so doesn't really lose much gold there.
That's true. That's something. Roche is up here though for T1 if they're so inclined. Their heroes aren't exactly the best for killing Roche. They have a medallion on Edge, which helps, but Razor, with Lina in the fountain, you probably don't have enough damage. Oh, Carl just got himself a Scotty. Wonderful.
He is an absolute beast. Look at that. It's 27 minutes in the game. Look at his items. That is sickening. So Yo-Yo in the mid lane. Let's see T1 trying to play with him a bit.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
I mean, you still have to fear the bear. This is a hero that, if given just a little bit of time
Smoke
can
up.
burst anybody down despite being so far down in net worth.
Smoke on smoke action. This is Vici Gaming's last chance in the game. If they lose this fight, they're going to
Yep,
lose.
Yo-Yo Smoke gets popped here. Heavenly Grace up fly, going on top of the Enchantress, but they still can't burst him down. Yo-Yo has to pop that BKB, gets the enrage up, the RP comes afterwards. Yo-Yo finally will get one kill, but it's just on the Enchantress, and you see the Wukong's command on the downside. Ursa dies, flies back into the game. Zephyr will be bursted down as well, so it's a 2-for-1 with the buyback onto Ursa. The stolen RP by PYW. Do they have enough damage to actually clean this up? Vici Gaming finally winning a fight. 23 Savage is dead. Triple kill for Ori of all heroes. That is exactly what they needed. And into the Roche pit, Vici goes.
Yeah, so Ursa does have some buyback for that, but that is a huge win for Vici Gaming. And the key part of this whole situation, Cuckoo's RP on the Ursa, honestly, in my opinion, felt unnecessary. He was fully drained by the Razor. You're going to see the replay here, so watch how Poyo goes in. They try to get the edge burst down, it doesn't work, and here comes 23 Savage with the static link. So Poyo's fighting potential is almost non-existent. They RP into the Enrage. He still gets to do a little bit more damage before he ultimately does die to the Laguna Blade, but you gave Rubik that RP by setting it up in this way. And Vici Gaming are going to capitalize on that big time, pulling back about 4k of the lead.
Oh, that was sick.
Radiant's top tower.
69% win chance now for T1, down from, what's that, about 90, I think. 91, just a moment ago.
Fight. Yeah, and that, I mean, again, looking at the net worth for the heroes themselves, you can see that that Carl is so far ahead of everyone.
Honestly, though, Rubik is going to have another RP if Vici Gaming set this up well. He has a 1-minute cooldown on it. Spell Steal is lasting for another 2.5, I want to say, roughly. So they have a window of opportunity of 90 seconds where their team fight is so much better than it has been for the rest of the game just with that steal in hand. So it looks like they're very eager to look to squeeze as much out of this as they can, getting their first couple of towers in addition to the mid one now, finally opening up a little bit more space by getting bottom tier 1 and tier 2. Carl will respond by taking top tier 2, however, so it didn't come for free. Yeah, and T1 are rotating down. Does he have travels on Ori? He does not. If this fight breaks out, there's no Lesh Cuckoo. Smoke behind will seal 11. He's scared, though. He will blink away.
There's the DD on Ursa as well.
Zephyr doesn't care.
Yeah.
That was a little bit
Jumping
wild.
in and out. But not going to find anybody. At least not yet.
11. He has to BKB here.
Yeah, old 11 is in quite a bit of trouble. Pops that BKB, gets the spear off as well. Guardian Angel from afar. Poyo comes in, trying to burst down the Lina, but Carl pops his BKB. Should be able to get out just fine. Cuckoo and company trying to take out the Ursa in the meantime. You can see the Eye of the Storm. So much minus armor against this Ursa. He's stuck inside that Wukong's command, but the stolen Wukong's from PYW. And Poyo looks like he's going to get out just fine, but Leshrac is just getting decimated despite having the BKB. Fuels himself to safety, but not for long. Drops as a result. And this is turning into a fight for T1. The skewer back on Poyo, and despite having that Aegis earlier, they still lose this fight, Cinderin.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they used RP. I'm guessing they did on the Rubik after he...
He did, right. So what's really crucial in this fight is Zephyr on the Monkey King getting into the backline. So he forced PYW to just RP only the Monkey King, and that makes that fight so much easier. So he RPs and then he steals the Wukong's command, and that just doesn't cut it. They need that RP on the big course that Ursa is hitting. So it's off camera right now, off screen. You see the green marker in the bottom left on the minimap connecting in. Yeah. And just sitting on that Rubik. Back to live though. Carl is getting kind of low here, so maybe T1 can't actually get this tower.
Satanic is on the way, though, Cinderin. Don't you worry.
Where did that come from?
I don't know.
Scotty
All's 11. Oh, he gets off the BKB. Gets a little bit of space there. A couple more right clicks should do it. Nice heal from DY. So old 11 lives as a result of that.
Stolen
LSA stolen. Is going to connect. Sphere onto one. Double rebuke as well. That's going to be 2 cleanup kills for Vici Gaming in their own base.
They really, really wanted old 11 there, but Neck God will escape.
So, yeah, a little bit of gold going the way of Vici there, obviously. But, and we didn't mention, of course, that the shard was picked up from Roche on Poyo, so does get the enrage buff every time he earth shocks. But I feel like the story is about Carl, who wait, what did he drop? I thought he had another item on top of this. I mean, he had the wand, I guess.
Bottle. He just swapped the wand out.
Okay.
The bottle was in the first
So has a
slot
DD bottled.
25,
Man,
gets the
man.
attack range talent.
He
Carl
is-
is absolutely beastly in this game, and that's honestly still the story. Like, let's think back to 30 minutes ago and what happened in this game. Dota is a game of snowball, and a lot of the reason Carl is in this position is still what happened in the first 5 minutes. So Vici Gaming, honestly, very impressed with their ability to stay in this with how grim it was looking. That fight close to Roche, really gave them a second life in the game.
Does feel like Rubik is that big wild card in these fights.
He is, for sure. If PYW gets a good RP, you can never count Vici Gaming out in this. Will be a pretty big difference maker if they find some sort of better solution to the Razor life static draining the Ursa as well.
Wukong's command, Boundless Strike, trying to create some space here.
Okay, that's
Ori being forced out, but there's the Horn Toss back into the Wukong's command, and the right clicks from Carl. But Ori's going to live for now. In fact, going to turn this around completely onto the Magnus. So despite a good setup there from T1, they lose Cuckoo. There's the Mars Arena. 26 Savage has to refresh to get that BKB off. But they're just going to kill Mars in turns. It's a 1-for-1 now. Ori trying to play a lot, as much pressure as possible onto Carl. He's getting right-clicked down by Koyoyo. Now pops his BKB. Carl just getting stun locked. That was a stolen LSA as well. Boundless Strike to follow. Carl has to stand his ground with that Satanic. It's doing a lot of damage, but will finally go down in favor of Vici Gaming, but they do lose Koyoyo. 23 Savage has to stand his ground as well, but it's not going to happen. PY and PYW, the last two remaining members of Vici Gaming, an absolute bloodbath of a fight. It's just the supports left over. But Monkey King is so strong, he gets lifted by PYW. Oh my god, that heal! Zephyr! Jingu Mastery for the freaking win! Has the high five to nobody, but well deserved. My god, that was sick.
Can you believe that ended up being 2 supports versus 2 supports?
Dude, epic showdown. I love that.
And then T1 wins it by 2% health on the Monkey King. And then gets off that. He took the Jingo Mastery talent on level 15. I don't know how many levels Zephyr got in that fight. I think he got like 3 or 4 with everything that just happened on that Monkey King. So is approaching a potential level 25 here. He has 20
here
before this final fight. Now
all the cores die. It's just the support battle of a lifetime.
And
God,
I
this was
totally understand why Vici Gaming thought they could kill him here, right?
No doubt.
They have that.
And boom! Oh god, that must have felt so good.
That honestly, that is one of the most satisfying spells to use in the entire game. Boundless Strike with Jingu is that is very, very nice.
See the dismay here from Vici is T1 still holding on to a pretty sizable lead, and Vici, off the back of a couple good team fights, have kind of brought themselves back in addition to the 2 Roches. Let's not forget that probably had some good impact on the game for them. But win probability, I mean, it's not out of reach for Vici. And again, this is only game 1 of this best of 3. Knew this was going to be an absolute bloodbath. Did not know it was going to come down to the supports just tickling each other at the end there. That was great.
Now with things calming down a little bit, Shannon, you know what time it is. It's time for trivia.
Oh, all right.
Are you ready?
Sure. I feel like my percentage on this is like 10.
How old is Carl?
I have no idea.
Same.
Okay.
That would be impressive.
So that
if
was
you
the
knew
right
that.
answer then.
Yeah, good. That you get.
I just
you
have
get
to
a
match
point.
you.
You get a point.
Thank
the
you.
correct answer is what I think.
Yes.
Yes.
Even if it's incorrect.
Very good. I'm not sure how old Carl is, but old 11. I'm sure he's in trouble.
Oh.
Okay. Got up pretty quickly there.
Feel for a little division there, and they're not going to run into anybody. Vici very, very careful right now.
Effectively did break the smoke, so nice job there from old 11, and they back off. And like I said before, I kind of can't believe that Vici Gaming is still playing here. Not in the sense that they should have given up, but in the sense that how on earth are they still in the game? But
yeah,
super impressive stuff from them. Still massively a T1 favorite game.
I should mention, of course,
good
23 Savage, in addition to the Refresher, has an Ags and his 25 talent, so that's 3 Eye of the Storm procs.
Yeah.
And then Refresher on top of that, so...
But also important to note is that a huge portion of T1's damage is physical, right? It's Lina right-clicks, it's Razor's Eye of the Storm, like you pointed out. You have Guardian Angel, Solar Crest. Leshrac is finally getting a Shiva's Guard now. You have Satanic on Ursa. There is the potential for T1 that you run into damage issues, actually.
Zephyr does have Nullifier. So
okay.
Guardian Angel
That'll
and
help.
Heavenly Grace, goodbye.
Oh, it's also tier 4 neutral items time.
Oh,
Let's see if anyone
baby.
gets the Fabled,
Witch
what
Bane?
was it called again? That
Witch
was what
Bane.
it was called.
And if they can get that, that's another dispel for Guardian Angel. And
Telescope for Carl.
let's just say it's a dispel against Omni Knight as a whole. That's pretty much pretty accurate, I feel.
Well, you're going to put Telescope on for the Dire. You probably put it on Whitemon, right? You just want that attack range and spellcasting range for the team, and Lina doesn't want to give up the Titan Sliver.
Oh, now refresh. Ooh, Ags. Wow. All right, we're seeing some items here. So Old 11's going to have double BKB, double Mars Arena, and all that good stuff. And DY gets Aghanim Scepter. So Global Guardian Angel. And
10-second duration.
And works on buildings, lasts longer. I was not expecting that one, not going to lie. We'll see how it works out.
Yeah, that refresher on Old 11 can make a huge difference. He has a very good chance of surviving. If he blinks in Arena's BKBs and gets GA'd, he can't die, right? Because they can't nullify him during BKB. So I have no real way of killing this.
Okay, Whitemon might run into Poyoyo here. Is the preemptive Heavenly Grace. Roche is not up.
Dewarding.
And just pivoting across from each other. They both have idea of where they are.
I don't know. I'm starting to question how far T1 are actually ahead right now. Just
it's
from
starting to go down here, no doubt.
It is just concerning that the VG Gaming cores went from being easy kills to now all being exceptionally tanky, and then you add GA on top of it that can't fail to go off. All they need to do is pop their BKB in the meantime. Effectively, I think T1's strategy needs to be changed to a little bit more of a weaving nature rather than just a hard commit. They will maybe catch some picks here mid, though. Old 11 will blink away. Get the invis. And back off.
Good to go. All right, so a little bit of downtime here. You know what that means, Cinder? Just kidding.
Hey, why don't you ask me something?
Number 3 being attempted now by T1. That's going to be the refresher shard, so no Ags this time around. As I might see a connection here. Poyoyo is going to be spotted by the plasma field of 23 Savage. And Roshan getting close to half HP. This is a fight I feel like Vici has to take. They're going to scan, so they know that this is being attempted right now. Old 11 jumps in with the first arena. BKB by Carl. He just walks out to safety. Old 11 procs his passive now. 23 Savage gets up the plasma heals. There's a refresher from Old 11, able to blink to safety. Poyoyo getting kited on the back line right now. And you see Kuku boundless strike into RP. T1 decimating this fight, but that's a buyback onto the Rubik. Ori inside. This Wukong's command just getting kited with that nullifier. Easy kill goes the way of T1 again, and DY basically the last remaining member. There is a buyback from Rubik, but ultra kill from Carl into second Roach, I would assume. And T1 might have just won the game off of this fight alone.
Vici Gaming, I am so sorry for believing in you. The moment I said you had a good shot, you get absolutely crushed and get no kills in the fight.
It's okay.
And get run over. Feeling a little bit like Kyle here. Oh man, that was
I don't think he got
fight from
T1. He didn't get off the second arena. I'm not sure if that would have made a difference.
Right, so first of all, he doesn't get off the second arena, and I think they didn't layer their Guardian Angel with the BKBs too well, and there was nothing, like, there's no clear target for Vici Gaming in that fight that they were able to get on top of. They just kept being, you know, kited around. Some insane Boundless Strike cast there.
Yeah, into the throne.
Oh my god.
They know that these buybacks are likely not here. It's going to be a tier 4 tower, and you can see 23 Savage. Yeah, GG's called. So T1 take game 1, and I mean, they got off to an amazing start, but you got to give Vici credit for making some sort of a comeback when we didn't really see much avenue for it, but they played really well despite not having the laning stage advantage.
Still feels like overall, you know, a deserved win here for T1, even though they had to grind for it a little bit. They were the better team in this game, Vici Gaming with moments of brilliance, but not enough. And again, I want to come back to this, and I think this is something the panel is going to talk about as well. How do you enable Ori to have a better laning stage? Do you ban the Lina just so he doesn't get crushed? Because that kind of start at this level of play recovering from just takes so much extra effort that you don't want to have to funnel into the game. You need to pull heroes around to even give your mid laner a chance at playing the game. And Carl just masterclass on how to win as Lina mid against the Leshrac. Yeah, outside of that, you know, if T1 don't get off to this dominant of a start, it definitely looks like this can be a very competitive series for Vici Gaming. Imagine if they're not 10k gold behind when they start getting team fights, or 15 as it actually was around that Roche pit. They definitely have what it takes to take down T1, but they're looking great in this first game.
Yeah, I mean, this was a series that I was expecting to go 3 games, and I'm still expecting that going forward, but we'll have to wait and see. I'd like to give a huge shout out to Shiver for tying my tie today. I think she did a wonderful job, so really appreciate that. And with this game number 1 over, Cinder, let's see what the panel has to say about this start to this amazing series.
Good job, Shiver.
We're on camera. What a great game. T1 took the victory, and now they are standing at a nice 1-0. Now, one of the things that the casters had mentioned is that it was definitely a stun game. Lots of stuns coming out. We had Monkey King doing Monkey King things, Rubik stealing Monkey King's spell, and also doing Monkey King things. But what would you say was the winning point of the game? Wait, actually, forgive me. Because we have a special guest joining us on the panel today. We have none other than the one and only Saberlight from Team Undying. Welcome to the panel. Is this your first panel ever?
It is.
Oh, I'm so sorry you have me as a ghost. Apologies. But anyway, sorry, back to the question. So, Saberlight, I'll ask you first. What do you think was like the winning point of this game for T1?
Honestly, I think it's just their gameplay. I think the way they executed and the way they pressed spells was incredible. Especially like the fight at the top tier 1, when they stunned 3 people after 3 people. It was incredible. I think, and secondly, the draft. I saw the Omni, and I think this hero is very sus. Especially if the enemy team has Purge, which they did. They had Nullifier and they had Ench.
So, would you say that the Omni Knight was a very unideal pick? But if so, what would have been better in that place?
Well, maybe more stunts. I think the Omni Knight hero, it can work in some cases, but I think some regular position 5 could maybe work better in this game. But, you know, Vichy went with their strat, and props to them for trying it.
All right, so AUI, what do you think T1 did very, very well in that game? I mean, it's a very high kill game. You can see that 21 on Lina. Who would you say the MVP is for this match?
Who drafts for T1? It's Cuckoo, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Cuckoo. I think the draft was just...
Also probably March. I mean,
Yeah.
we talked about this the other day, but I think Korean coaches are just
That's true.
OP. And they also have one, right? It's just how it goes. You have a Korean coach, you're off to a really good start.
I feel like, though, if you see Omni Rubik supports, you're able to just abuse it with Enchantress. T1 is just so well set up for success. And they did it. I mean, at the early part of the game, they took over the map, and then they played T1 Dota. You know, they slowed down, they got their timings, and Vici, they're trying to mount a comeback. They took some really good team fights with good coordination, but it just wasn't enough against T1.
Yeah, we actually have one of those team fights. Let's cue it up. I believe it was the one in the Dire top lane when it was shortly after Mars was in the base doing Mars things. So, Insania, can you explain to me like what the key point of this team fight was? I know that people were kind of yelling a lot when this fight was happening, especially toward the end.
I mean, I know generally speaking, Chinese teams really like this Lina into Lesh matchup because she just could sit back and just auto attack, but it didn't really seem to play out that way this game. If I'm being perfectly honest with you, I don't remember the exact key points of this team fight, but it looks like it's just going to be a bit dragged out fight where Ori's dealing a lot of damage. The Leshrak's not really in a lot of trouble, with Alina taken out so early from the fight. He just seems to be able to output damage like crazy.
So there's like a lot going on here, but it seemed like T1 had the upper hand, and then they kind of didn't at the end of this fight. What happened here?
Well, this is the one where Zephyr actually manages to turn it around. It was a epic support fight.
Right.
Yeah, this fight, like Leshrak, even though he was 15k behind, I think he managed to do 12k damage this fight.
Yeah.
Which is insane. I think it's a lot of what you said. It didn't feel like, I mean, Lina's good versus Leshrak not only in the lane, but he also runs in and you just hit him a lot, and he doesn't get to do that damage. This fight, I think, was actually really well executed by Vici, but at the end, Zephyr, it was just clutch, right? Like he manages to get that stun off and full heal, team wipe.
I also think it's the Mars versus Lina matchup. It's like really good for Vici that they had Mars, but once the arena is down, the Lina has free reign, so they need to kill him in the arena, otherwise they're in big trouble.
So is this match a prime example of 5s and 4s being really, really, really strong in the meta? It seemed like supports were really the deciding factor in all of these fights.
I think they were doing a good job of surviving. I think both team supports had really good positioning. And I know we talked about this before, but I think T1's team fighting is amazing. And usually, I think core players generally are fairly consistent in how well they team fight. But supports are really like, you can notice a massive difference in how they're used, how the teams use them. Some teams tend to sack their supports more, send them in early, have them die, make the fight easier for their cores. Other teams, like T1, you see both the supports are surviving all the way till the end of the fight. So I think there's the way they use their supports for both Vici and T1 stood out to me.
So they both stood out because they did the same thing in that they were aiming for survivability, and when everybody else was dead, it became a support fight.
Right.
So, do you think that when they draft for this next game, do you think that maybe they should be drafting for these supports instead? Because, like Saberlight mentioned, Omni Knight was very questionable. So, do you think that you'll see supports being picked in first phase, or?
I think they came in with a prepared strat. It felt like they were ready to give away the Magnus, and then the idea was we have Omni Knight to respond for the physical damage, we have the Purge for the RP, and we have the Rubik that can steal it back. And we did see it come into play at some point where the Rubik steals the RP and he gets a massive turnaround somewhere in the early game. But it just seems like at the end of the day, the Mag just does so many other things that are so valuable. I feel like it's not even about the RP anymore, or even the Empower to some extent. Like they had 2 ranged heroes. They didn't really have anyone that uses Empower, so just a like horn toss back into Skewer just seems like a very, very hard thing to deal with.
Do you have anything to add to that before I ask another question?
Yeah, I think the strongest part about Magnus is what Jenkins said before the game. It's the skewer, and you can break the formation of the other team. And about the supports, I think it's also this game. Both teams, they kind of need to kill the enemy mid laner. The Lina and the Leshrac are the main damage outputs for both teams. So the supports can like sit in the back and enjoy, because everyone wants to kill these mid laners. And then like once they're dead, they can start focusing other people in the fight.
So if you were to put yourself in the minds of Vici Gaming, who are now on their back foot, what would you do to like kind of reset, refocus your mind, and be like, all right, we can turn around and do this? What would you do, AUI, as a former coach?
I mean, from a coach's perspective, I think Fenrir should try to, even if he doesn't think it's really true, he should try to say like, hey guys, I made a bad pick with the Leshrac into Lina mid. Let's just reset. If we play the same way, but we have a more robust draft, we'll win the next game. Like that's the type of mentality I think Vici should try to have going into the next game.
Is it very common for coaches to just be like, my bad?
I feel like it's person specific. I feel like, for example, I think Insania would take blame even if it's not really his, just to prop up his allies and like give your team the higher percentage to win. Is that true?
Yeah, I think after game 1s you kind of have to sometimes.
Yeah.
If you notice
someone
that your
has
team
to do
is,
it, right?
yeah, if your team is uninspired or they feel like they don't know what to do, like sometimes it's good to just go in and be like, hey, this draft sucked. This game's on me. Forget about it. Let's move on to the next game. And I think when you do that, you kind of take people out of their own heads. You make them not think about the mistakes. You make them focus on, all right, you know what, the draft wasn't great. There was nothing I could have done differently. It's somebody else's fault. Nothing to do with me. And I think, especially in big tournaments and big moments like this, that can be really, really useful just to make sure that you're thinking about the right things.
Interesting. Saberlight, do you have that kind of experience as well?
Yeah, I think even this TI, whenever we lost the game, I think whenever Moon or Febby said that it's like kind of their fault, even though it was like, for example, mine or someone else's, it helps you think about, all right, this game happened. I for sure like did some things badly, but it is what it is. It's like the next game that counts. So it helps you reset and focus on the next game.
Interesting. So it really shows like that team perspective, right? Because Dota is a 5-person game, and even though one person can have a point of failure, it isn't always the fact that they're the only reason. So the team kind of takes that blame together, or you take the blame for everyone and just say my bad. Or
Honestly,
the coach.
like competitive Dota and pubs, it's very rare that it's one person responsible for a loss.
Right.
Like as long as everyone's trying their best and putting the work in, like the main job of the coach is to make sure everyone's going in with a good mentality.
I feel like we've heard mentality a lot in a lot of these series, especially with like EG and Dr. K and, the teams that are like hyping each other up, like a team spirit, for instance. One of the things that both of you told me, and you were there too, we talked about it too with Jenkins Saberlight, like they're really good at keeping that mentality, like positive mentality and hyping each other up. It's definitely... do you feel like that's super, super important? Or do you think that maybe like being like, oh, well, I can learn from this instead?
I mean, I think when you're playing during the season and when you're playing scrims, having like learning attitude and talking about what goes wrong is really important. But once you're at TI, you want to put that aside, because at this point, it's too late. You're committed. Whatever you came in with, that's what you got.
But that's so hard.
Yeah, but the beauty of Dota is that, right? Even if you get absolutely destroyed game 1, when you play game 2, it's even again. It's not like there's some like World of Warcraft where somebody has better gear than you at the start of the next game. It's dead even. So you get a reset and you get to play for free again from the start. So.
All right. Well, before we get started with this next game, let's take a look at some TI memories for Vici Gaming.
So
就是整个 TI 生涯里面最伤心，或者说最惋惜的一个场景，应该是在，
那可能是 TI6 那年我好像在以后面打的 TI 嘛，然后那年小组赛也比较顺利的。
然后我们赢了 A 队以后，我们已经锁定前6了，然后在下一场的胜者组决赛那个比赛中，我们就是那一场比赛对我们来说很关键，我们在那一轮遇到了一级战队。
当时其实我们觉得一级并不是很强，我们挺有信心拿下那场比赛的。
This racetrack, that's going to be Vegas. EG going to need a miracle, not a position you want to be in if you're an EG fan right now.
纣王，然后当时场面我记得我们还是挺优的，甚至一度破了别人的3路，已经出了超级兵。
The EG might just not have the bodies to do this. Can they get PPD out? He gets a force out away, but no! The extra damage comes out from the Warlock as the Fatal Bonds eliminates him, but Size! He almost Size! They're can they do it? Any pickoff on a core might enable them to still win this game. Like an EG might be able to do this. Genius is holding. They're holding his defense here again. If they kill him, it'll take him out. They revive back in the tier. Oh, the throne's going down. The throne down to
Game 1. 然后就被超级兵翻盘了嘛，然后就作为史诗一直被大家吐槽吧，就领先特别多，然后被超级兵翻盘了。
TI 上的超级兵翻盘，
因为我跟艾斯艾斯的关系也好嘛，然后我就打完特别生气，然后就非常生气的指着他说：“哎，你小狗实在让我太失望了。”
然后直接影响了我们那一把输了以后，直接影响了我们第2把的心态和操作，直接导致我们第2把输的很利落。
As we had just talked about, the mentality of the players will really matter in games that are high stakes like these Vici Gaming, showing that, you know, they were down a first game and it was rough for them to take that loss, but that emotion carried over into game 2 and they lost swiftly. So like you guys mentioned, all 3 of you, they really need to take a step back and reset, regroup for game 2. Now, what are we expecting to see in changes? You said swap out the Omni Knight. Other than that, what do you think Vici Gaming can do for game 2 to really turn around?
Yeah, I think you tried giving away the mag. It didn't work out. Most likely, you know, this game, you're going to be like, okay, our prepared strat didn't work. I don't think we can deal with this unless they've got first pick now and they can first pick it themselves.
Interesting. Well, I don't know if we're going to see this Magnus ban. They have 2 bans left. We're currently in the ban. In the ban phase, we see Io and Tiny getting banned out. We are going to go ahead and... Oh,
they want to run them over, right?
What do you
we are going to get started with this game. Apologies, sir.
Vici Gaming versus T1 Game 2.
So you might want to just reorder the discussions already. Hello and welcome to game number 2 between Vici Gaming and T1. We're the draft panel and we have changed the cost for Effie, Canadian Effie, sorry, apologies. And we have Effie here.
He had some issues, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so we decided that for this draft we should get people who play Dota till 4 a.m. as opposed to studying the team so you can get the best information about the heroes. Jenkins, how do you feel about that statement?
I think you shouldn't put people on blast for a million people.
Right. Well, you know, I'm the host.
If he's Canadian Effie, I'm Jordanian Jenkins.
Oh, look at this. These guys actually behind the scenes are best friends. They spend the whole time outside of the panel holding hands. So, Vici versus T1.
That is
We're
not COVID safe.
That's not true.
And
They socially distance.
Exactly.
Vici Gaming versus T1. What can you tell me about the expectations for Vici Gaming this game? Because they need to win this.
I think the Omni Night was interesting. It was an experiment, and it's likely that that experiment, they've decided that it was a failed experiment. I think it's a 39% win rate guy, and...
You mean in Dota buff?
On Dota2ProTracker.com.
Did you know that he has a 0% win rate in TI right now?
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. You can purge all of the spells, which is quite an issue, and there's an item that you can buy that chain purges. That's one problem.
Yes, he lost 1 out of 1 game, so absolutely 0%
It's awful. Yeah, those stats are not good.
Yeah, no.
No, but I'm glad that Vici's going back to basics because Weaver is one of the best heroes that they had during groups, was one of their highest win rate heroes, and I don't know why, but during main event, Vici just strayed from their comfort, right? They were first phasing 11's heroes, and they were picking their Weaver whenever they could, and it feels like they tried to be a little bit more experimental, maybe because they thought that they were studied. But I think for this game, they have to just play what they know.
Actually, a little tidbit for you, Effie, about PYW. He was one of the innovators of Weaver support back in the day when he was on Serenity, and that hero started getting picked up a lot. So that's why he's so comfortable on the hero. It was back, and he's like, this is my TI, which I know you believe, Jenkins, because you have a great belief in Vici.
May I say something?
Okay, sure, other Jenkins.
There was, Jordanian Jenkins, thank you.
Apologies.
But there was a tweet that I remember by Jenkins. He said, I think Weaver is overpowered.
Jenkins, what do you think of that tweet about you?
I was right, and BSJ claimed that tweet immediately, as he does with things. He claims things as his own. He claimed he was North American, all of a sudden claims Europe as his main region.
He did show me a European passport, which he had just taken off some random
He's
person.
biased against everything. And so with Weaver, you know, the most annoying thing about this hero, honestly, the Aghanim Shard, that's probably the most busted thing about the hero. You just can't counter it with Ghost Scepter. Invis doesn't counter it because it literally reveals. Yules doesn't take it off. Like, you have to sit there and hit the bug, which now that you have the bug hit talent, you get both the bug hit talent and the minus armor talent. Before, you had to choose between them. So the bugs are just incredibly powerful. And yeah, that's...
I know you said before, or you can answer this, Effie, that Swarm is one of the strongest minus armor abilities in the game.
It is.
Absolutely, and with the whole the Invis reveal that it does, it's just given it so much more utility as a support, which is what you want. And before, when Weaver was played as a support just for his Aghanims, not the Shard, the Scepter, the issue with that was that it took time to come online, and then if they had some kind of draft that could hyper-focus on him, it would negate a lot of it away. But now that he's not even being played for that, his Vessel or Urn plus Shard timing is really fast. So I consider him a fast hero now.
We've spoken about Lina a lot here. We get comfortable play for Ori, and also a hero that has no bad matchups. Do you believe that, Jenkins? If he likes to say that.
I think that's true. I do think that's true. So I think over the years, mid laners have gotten a lot better at playing in general. I remember speaking with Gunnar about Lina versus TA back when there were like no changes and TA was considered to be like somewhat of a Lina counter, but then just it progressed with no patches so that Lina countered TA. And I remember him telling me something along the lines of like, you buy an extra Fairy Fire, something like that. Like, you literally just need that little bit of extra damage, something like that specific. And I think the mid lane has been optimized to that point. And then on top of that, the runes also really help Lina. Like, she abuses the runes. Worst case scenario, she hits you and just pushes the wave and then farms jungle.
Can I add to that? Because you were actually making the same argument at a point where we were starting to say that Ember Spirit actually beats Monkey in the lane. And you were saying that exact thing, that it was because of the optimization of Ember Spirit and the armor, of course.
Did I say that? That sounds smart. I don't think I said that.
You did, actually. It was in the TI rebroadcast last year when you did it with Moonduck.
Oh, all right. Yeah, no, that's another one of those matchups. I mean, I'm not a mid laner. I'm terrible. But they've figured it out. They've optimized it. I think the big thing with the Ember matchup was that they would push out the first wave with Flame Guard and like take the hits from Monkey King, but to then just choose to push it. And that sounds so simple now, but like back then it wasn't. That like wasn't the thing to do.
Effie, can we look at the T1 draft now? Monkey King Lion. What are the strengths of this opener?
So this opener is incredibly versatile just in the Monkey King pick alone. We've seen it succeed as a carry, and we've seen it succeed as a support, right?
Yeah.
But vision has been so important throughout this tournament in that we've seen Beastmaster, who typically hasn't performed that well, excel in certain games where vision is the name of the game, right? We've seen Monkey King be able to just by scouting the backlines and choke points or Roche, just give so much control to heroes who like to hit from a distance. So we can see it paired up with something that's kind of long-ranged, like Alina in particular, but things like that. Or maybe a hero like Shaker who needs a setup for some kind of jump. And the Lion, he ticks a lot of boxes, right? He just gives you the hard disable that you don't need to worry about in your draft, but he's also a bit of a deny pick because then you're more concerned about picking the Spirits, who are incredibly popular mid laners.
So, now we're seeing Vici Gaming's draft. We have the opener back again to being safe. The Weaver Lina, very typical Vici draft. How would you follow this up? What is it that they do, Jenkins, as a team?
I think they need some setups done. That's pretty important. Lina, you know, the Yule's build is something you just like never see anymore. So, you know, Monkey King, obviously it's picked on the other side. That's a decent. Okay, that's all right. So you can like have the Elder Titan sitting in a side lane, and then like, you know, he's obviously going to throw the Spirit out occasionally and maybe try to sleep you. And then like one of these times that you get slept, Lina shows up and kills you. So it's nice to have a few heroes to play around. I remember when Lina was being picked as a 4, some of the best teams would pick it where they would have a mid laner that could set up, and then a side laner who could set up too. So they'd have like a DK and then Lifestealer back when he had the slow. And that was how they would combo, where like Lina could go to either lane and get a kill. And now I think the same thing works for the mid lane, because you rotate from mid.
But now also just consider all the damage amp that this Lina is going to get. I really hope it's just a core Lina. Like, there's no way that it isn't at this point. But Elder Titan, his aura removes armor and it increases magic damage, right? So Lina, a core with mixed damage who does insane physical damage but also magical damage, these kinds of cores like Luna and Lina benefit so greatly from having an Elder Titan on their team. And paired up with Void, this is, you know, a tested combination. You just are splitter into Chronosphere and then you throw out your Spirit and it just buffs everything that goes on. It's looking pretty solid in terms of damage output right now.
Minus armor on the Weaver bugs too, and Chrono. That's like nothing to scoff at for sure. Like I really like this Vici draft so far. It seems like easy to execute. There's a lot of combinations that they have. They do damage. They have team fight. Like it really does tick all of the boxes. I hate to, you know, repeat.
No, you're right.
It's like all of the boxes are totally ticked.
So they do pick DK, and DK's a durable type of hero who also just provides the tower damage that they didn't have going for them in the draft so far. But the thing is, like, we were talking about all of this damage coming out of Vici. Dragon Knight's gonna get shredded. They're not gonna have issues dealing with him later on in the game. So now T1 have to play for a bit of a timing where they can kind of push behind this Dragon Knight before he just dies. Because Lina is typically a hero that loves Filled Silverage too. That's usually her third item after BOTs and BKB. So I'm not sure why they liked this DK so much here, but I guess they really did need to fill that gap. And now they have 4 stuns, which is nothing to scoff at.
That's always good. The more stuns, the easier it is to play.
And very reliable as well. Like Hex, Dragon Tail, even Fissure. Echo Slam is one of the few 0 cast point stuns in the game, so it's not hard to be able to stop any initiation.
I think we actually saw T1 playing versus LGD, I believe, and they picked Dragon Knight mid, and it was the only time that we saw Lina lose mid was to Dragon Knight. So maybe that's the thing. It's like, this is the only hero that deals with Lina.
There could be an idea here as well, because Elder Titan removes base armor, but that's not how Dragon Knight's armor works.
True. It's added armor.
So it's actually kind of, it counteracts ET's armor in that sense.
Is DK a Carl hero though? Is it the kind of hero you'd expect him on? Because it is similar to Doom in a sense.
You know what? This is going to be maybe a stupid prediction, but I feel like Carl might actually go for a Midas, because I remember him doing this at the Animajor, and I know that is the last thing that like Dragon Knights, I mean, people aren't even playing Dragon Knight, but that is the last thing that Dragon Knights have been doing prior to this patch. And like Blink Dagger into Midas maybe even, just because like I remember Carl distinctly doing that, and like that is just what T1 loves to do.
So T1 Bana Elsie, and I was actually thinking that would be a pretty nice pick, because when you have 4 stuns, you need some kind of cleanse or something like that, which is what Elsie would have provided. But now that that's not available in the pool, they need some kind of blink initiator on Vici, some kind of follow-up, because typically Void can go in for you, but he works best when there's someone to kind of draw attention to themselves, so he can set up for a good Chronosphere.
Yeah, like a Spirit. If we didn't think this Lina was going mid, I'd say like Ember Spirit or something like that is banned out.
Does Doom work here? Because they let him through, and I know that's one of the Old 11's favorite heroes.
That is one of his favorite heroes.
Oh no,
Beastmaster.
Beastmaster. It's been a while since we've seen Beastmaster for Old 11.
Okay.
This is a good Vici draft. I really like this draft.
Okay, why?
There's a lot. I mean, they've got tons of stuns. They've got tons of setup for the Lina. Like if this Lina goes to any of the lanes, you have the Beastmaster Roar to set up for her. You have the Faceless Void Chronosphere to set up both of the supports, amplify the Lina's damage. You have the snowball from the Helm Dom creep on Beastmaster. It's like there's so many ways that Vici could win this game.
Yeah, and to add on to that, when we were talking about Monkey King earlier and how his ability to provide vision is so good for a hero like Lina, who just likes to sit far back and hit things, now you have the Hawk to scout out the Monkey King in the trees, and you have Elder Titan Spirit just running around. So not only do they have the superior vision, but they just have the damage to deal with the durability of T1's heroes.
So what does T1 need to, what hole do they need to fill in this last pick?
I could see them picking a Morphling, and I mean, well, okay, I guess against ET it's not so good. They need something that lanes
Or
decently
Lina.
against, yeah. Phantom Lancer doesn't seem that bad, but then again, you could go for the Axis build on Beastmaster. You're an Agi hero against ET.
And they, a Dawnbreaker.
Okay.
So is this a Monkey King?
Okay, 23 Monkey King. Maybe
Yes.
that's not so crazy.
Yeah, of course, that's what I assumed.
Yeah. I thought it was gonna be a Dawnbreaker carry.
You thought it was Monkey King carry too, right, Jim?
Yeah, of course. I'm a professional here.
So Dawn Ags could actually be incredibly good in this game if Zephyr manages to get it because of the added evasion and the added healing, but it can heal through Chrono and through Roar pretty well. So if that's the idea that they were going for here, some kind of save, but also a strong laner, I think Dawn fits the bill pretty well. I like Vichi's draft more though.
So to Effie's point, in case you don't get this, when you deal with Chrono, it being such a strong ultimate, you have two options. Phantom Lancer, for example, that just eludes it or avoids it, or alternatively, you mitigate it. And Dawnbreaker is trying to mitigate the damage in the Chrono, right?
True,
Jenkins?
of course, yes, of course. Dawnbreaker very good against Faceless Void, although you don't stun when you ult into the Chrono, which is a bit annoying.
Yep. Well, we're gonna go now with the coach interview. So we have Vichi's coach on the sidelines, and Frankie is ready to ask him some questions.
Indeed, we've got Fenrir here and we've got Helen to translate as well. And Fenrir, I have one question for you. How important was it for you to secure Lina for Ori's mid lane this time? And was it also very important to deny Carl from having her?
只有一个问题，对你来说，抢 Ori 的 Lina 有多重要？同时，把对面 Carl 的 Lina 抢了，也会不会很重要？
怎么说呢？可能第一盘他的丽娜确实打得还可以吧，但是主要第一盘失利的问题，我觉得是我们对线犯了比较大的失误吧，跟丽娜没有关系。
Well, how do I say it? I feel like in game one, his Lina was decent. However, I feel like why we lost game one was due to our lanes not going so well. It's not really about the Lina.
But very quickly then, is Ori's Lina better?
所以有个问题 ，Ori 的 Lina 会不会比他的更厉害？
那是肯定的。
That's for sure.
And you know what's for sure? That this game is underway, so we're going to head over to Synderen and Sunsman right now.
Thank you very much, Frankie. Sunsfan with Synderen, Vici Gaming versus T1 Game 2 of the best of three. Vici Gaming, of course, have to win to stay alive. If T1 wins, they face off against... They get the pleasure of facing off against IG, who's the top of their group, coming into the main event. Your thoughts, Synderen?
I think I really like both drafts this game just in isolation. Like when I look at both strategies, it's very clear what they're trying to go for. You've got the T1 strategy with some good team fight between the Monkey King and Shaker with some reliable setup from Lion and Dragon Knight. Dawnbreaker following up is amazing on all of these stuns like we've talked about before. Basically has 4 good friends in this game that just have stuns that help you get into the fight.
Yep.
You look over at Vici Gaming's lineup, they have the nutty teamfight combo of Void plus Elder Titan. And I think Lina is one of the best mid-heroes to play together with Void this patch. You have insane overwhelming damage in the Chronosphere of 2 damage types. You have the position 4 Weaver that's going to probably get a save against these single target stuns from T1. And then Old 11 on a Beastmaster high pressure hero that can get them ahead, get them vision. So really think this will be a closer game than game 1, even though, you know, Vici Gaming kind of pulled it back and made it competitive. I think this one we won't see like a 15k gold lead minute 30 for either team.
Unless Carl... no, I don't think the DK versus Lina matchup, I mean, you might end up even if you're really good, but...
I do want to talk about this. It's good that you mentioned this, because we had another game this tournament with this exact matchup where it was Carl's Lina against Nothing to Say on Dragon Knight, and Nothing to Say won the lane. So I think that is the only hero this tournament I have seen Lina lose to a single time in that mid lane in the first 5 minutes. So gonna keep my eyes on this to see if it's a consistent thing or if nothing to say it's just that good.
Might have just been an anomaly, but yeah, we'll have to see after this. I mean, still small sample size with 2 games, but either way. This is something I do want to mention now because I'm just really interested, as you might know, Cinderin. The idea of Dawnbreaker against Faceless Void. Do you go for, like, do you prioritize Ags this game? Because of the evasion, the extra HP regen that you get, you just have to not be chronoed yourself.
Yeah, so this is why Axe on Dawn is so beautiful against Void, is the problem that you face a lot of the time is when Void uses Chronosphere, if you ulti right away for the save, you end up, your hero physically comes from high up in the sky and falls down, but if there's a Chronosphere there, you get stuck on the top of the Chronosphere and your stun never lands.
Yeah.
So, but if you have Axe, the channel time is so long, you can just sustain it through the entire chrono,
right,
effectively giving, like you said, the 60% evasion and the healing. So yeah, absolutely, I think it would be an awesome choice this game. It would also kind of force both Ori as well as Poyoyo to get MKBs if they won't even kill on the chrono. So yeah, I think from my perspective, Zephyr should actually rush it. He shouldn't get a mech this game. It's just straight Ags. It's
really
that good, yeah.
First item
I would love to see it.
Wow.
Optional Locket, maybe, but
okay.
Yeah, I think the Aghanims is just that good here.
Very cool. As we see Carl versus Ori, as we already talked about, pretty even. I mean, 6 denies though for Ori. That's going to give him the level advantage for now, but to be expected between this particular matchup. Old 11's going to be playing the Beastmaster this time. I haven't gotten to see a ton of Beastmaster on him this tournament. It feels like that hero has tapered off a bit with the nerfs to Helm of the Dom. Well, Helm of the Overlord specifically. What are your thoughts on this choice this time around?
I think it's good. It fits well with their lineup, like the panel was talking about. Getting the vision advantage for your heroes is extremely powerful, and as far as Old 11 goes, he can sometimes be a feast or famine kind of player. I think this is the kind of hero that Old 11 can take charge on and get a lot of stuff done, push towers, initiate fights for his team. His Mars in the last game was given, dealt, I think, a pretty bad hand. Like, it was a hard lane. I was playing against Razor, and overall, their lanes just went horribly. So, this is a different approach, and I think it's going to work very well here.
Whitemon is going to get the Swarm applied to him, but the Earth Spike with the Hex and the Dust, PYW looks like he'll live. That takes heavy punish just for existing as a disgusting bug. Sorry, I just really hate bugs. So LSA is going to connect onto Carl. Ori. And once the rotations come, if Carl is still at this low HP, that's going to end up being an easy kill.
Okay, nothing to say. It's just that good. Confirmed.
Yeah, I think so.
Ori is very far ahead of Carl this game.
It's not as bad as last game, though. The reverse is PYW gets caught off by that Fissure. Cuckoo, a nice enchant totem. Trying to turn this around, but it looks like, oh, one more right click will do it, but they can't reach him. Poyoyo will turn his sights to Whitemon instead. Swarm comes through, is going to connect on Whitemon, and he's going to tick down to those beetles. As Cuckoo just barely survives as well, so first blood goes the way of Vici Gaming this time.
Could you imagine that? What a way to go out. You've been to hell and back, and you didn't die there, and then you get killed by a little scarab.
Yeah.
Those scarabs have to be really nasty. That is...
Have you seen the mummy? Why am I asking you anything? Carl getting chased by DY.
You fought and died.
We'll be fine, though. And it's just one of these mid heroes I find interesting, because a lot of these players that play mid are very mechanically skilled, and DK is like, you blink, you get a blink dagger, you blink, you initiate. You're almost like an offlaner where you just get kind of expedited levels.
Really high pressure here mid from Ori again. Carl will sustain, but will struggle to even use his Soul Ring to use mana right now without dying, and just keep getting, keeps laying into him there.
Living on the edge right now, which you kind of have to do if you want to get this XP. Now you can see Ori. Another LSA connects, and he's about to hit level 6 here in a couple.
11 is in trouble top as well. This is a
lane. 23 Savage has the Jingu.
Pretty tough position to be in.
The favorable trade. Starbreaker not going to fully connect. 23 Savage and company just forcing them out of lane at the very least. Swarm again in the bot lane. Poyoyo gets the bash. Cuckoo continue to get chased and harassed by PYW. They're going to jump in with one more time walk, and the right click from PYW is enough to secure yet another kill for Vici Gaming.
Dilation is so good against Shaker in lane. He will always need to use Enchant Totem to farm, and that means if he has used the Fissure and you dilate after, you have such a long time where you can just run him down. And make very quick work of him there with these two heroes. You know, this is a Faceless Void Weaver lane. It's not exactly a traditional lane, but they are winning this bottom lane as well. So this time around, Vici Gaming, totally different situation. And as we talked about, if they just don't get crushed like last time, maybe they'll be fine. Oh, whew. Well,
There's Dragon Slave. Oh, 50-50 Cinderin. Eternal Envy would be proud. Ori is going to spot out Zephyr now as the hammer will come back from whence it came. Looks like Whitemon takes a tumble in the bot lane, though. As Ori looks to be fine. Still has Laguna Blade to work with, but no mana to speak of. Was not able to secure the rune this time around. But a lot of pressure to this tower. I mean, 3 heroes here with the catapult as well.
And let's see how Carl does when he's playing from behind. I feel like it's been a while since that's been the case, that Carl lost his lane this hard. Even in the game when he was Lina against Nothing to Say's Dragon Knight, I think Carl was still having better conditions than this. And Dragon Knight, in my experience, doesn't perform very well from behind like this. Like, you really need some key stuff. You need boots. You need arguably upgraded boots into Dagger.
Chronosphere in the bot lane with the swarm from PYW. Cuckoo looks to be super dead. The question is who's going to get credit? It is the Beetle.
Yeah, he's going to get earn charges as well here, so going to drop one on Puyo immediately too.
Oh, 23 Savage. Ori's in the vicinity. Oh, all right. Preemptive jump here from 23 Savage. Good instincts. Gets salved.
He's still not safe, though. Okay, now he is. Ori's showing.
Well, they're going to push with Beastmaster Hawk giving some vision here. Catapult doing some damage as well, but it looks like it'll be mitigated here.
They have no glyph. So they can't keep it alive until the wave connects. And they will respect the potential play of T1 there.
Yeah, Carl just trying to catch up. I mean, that's the one good thing about this rotation from T1's perspective is Lina wastes a little bit of time in that top lane, which means Carl can apply some pressure to the Tier 1 tower, which is obviously Dragon Knight's prerogative as a hero in general. Puyoyo in the bot lane, 38 and 12 for CS. And you can see 23 Savage just a little bit ahead with 42 and 11 in the top lane. Oh, Echo Stomp will connect onto Carl. It's going to set up the LSA, but a nice counter stun from Whitemon. Going to try to turn this around as Carl gets some save from Zephyr. Gets off the Starbreaker. That's a big kill onto Ori. T1 finally on the board for game number 2.
Yeah, they brought a lot of heroes to ensure this kill, but it's big. And Carl loves to get that help, and it allows him to also start laying into the mid-tier 1 tower a little bit here. He needs to push out this wave ASAP if he wants to get more attacks in. Is working on it with the Breathe Fire. I think he will be able to at least get one more swing in here before Lina comes back, so that will be another nice amount of damage here with that Corrosive Breath.
Good ability.
Yep, it's very strong.
And it scales with each level in the ultimate Cinderin. Trivia for people that have never played Dota before. 23 Savage. It's not on the same level as your trivia.
Nothing is, though.
That's true. Zephyr trying to stop this push in the top lane. We see a TP coming. There's the Boundless Strike. Starbreaker does connect successfully into the Echo Slam. Ori's dead again. And now the Earth Spike to follow as T1. Great defense in the top lane. And this is 2 early deaths now on Ori, despite getting off to a really good start.
Excellent spell casting. They used the Boundless Strike. Okay, that was not excellent spell casting. Zephyr throwing a hammer to knock him out of the tree.
It happens.
That was on purpose. He was just griefing him before going back to base. Even on TI main stage, you know. At least what Jerax used to do was to ask before he griefed. Zephyr just does it, but... yeah, great defense. They get the Boundless Strike into the Starbreaker, and that allows for them to just barely connect with the Echo Slam. So very well done by T1 and on just delaying their stuns perfectly to get that kill. Shannon, we're 10 minutes in.
Yeah.
It's time for trivia.
Okay.
What is the square root of the sum of the cooldown of Roshan's abilities?
All right, that's a stupid question. Next.
It's a whole number.
Say it again.
What is the square root of the total cooldown of Roshan's abilities?
I don't know. 2.
That is very,
4,
very bad.
8, 12.
They're dying! Cast the fight!
Carl! Looks like there's going to be a trade. Cinderin is trying to sabotage this cast. As you can see, the faceless boy dies. What is wrong with you? This is TI-10 main stage, for God's sake.
Yeah, we get to have a good time, though. That's important.
That's true. No, I agree.
The correct answer is 5.
That's the least interesting one. You know what? You're banned for 10 minutes from another trivia. That was terrible.
That's pretty good. I would have probably waited 10 minutes anyway.
Okay.
I'll take it.
But that's a pretty big kill. Yeah, Puyoyo.
They traded a support for getting the Void, so now both big cores on the Radiant side have died. Lina twice, Void once.
And neither of which have a kill, actually, which is actually more surprising on Ori, with only 1 assist. So, taking part in only 1 kill overall this game. Whitemon, oh, he's going to run into a lot of heroes, but looks like he is more than fine. Zephyr going to chase them out here. Starbreaker actually does connect with the Finger of Death from Whitemon. All right.
Oh, it's such a satisfying spell.
I mean, getting a kill in general is satisfying, so if there's flashy particles, then and a nice
It's just
sound
something about Finger of Death.
You say that about every spell.
No, I don't. I say it about Finger of Death.
You said it last game about something else. It was Boundless Strike.
That was Boundless Strike with Jingu. I mean, you can't argue against it.
I'm not
That is
arguing.
really
I'm just saying.
You know, it's also
You're an
really
easy man to
satisfying.
please.
Trivia in 10 minutes.
Oh boy.
But not yet.
Down. Carl doing more damage with that Corrosive Breath, which will cause
Gets denied.
Yoyo to deny the mid tower.
So at the very least for Vici Gaming, they denied that. But again, given Carl's start, getting this mid tower minute at 11:30 is honestly pretty good. You know, he was pressured a lot, lost the lane to Lina, they ganked as well. But Carl still hasn't died in this lane. Has found his own fortune. Okay, Illusion Rune will go the way of the Dragon Knight. Also, keep in mind these illusions also have Corrosive Breath, so if Carl wants to, he can kind of do a little bit of a rotation move here. I believe at least they have the full Corrosive Breath, so he could send them to...
I actually don't remember. Do they stay in dragon form when he turns back?
Yes.
You sure about that?
Yeah. The reason you're not
Terrorblade
sure
is
is
the one that-
Terrorblade, but that's because his is an aura.
Yeah.
So they should stay in dragon form full duration. And I do believe I just saw that. Okay, they don't turn dragon.
Trivia: do they turn back to human or not?
I could promise you they used to.
Yeah,
they
well,
are.
You're a freaking boomer.
They're still in dragon form. It's
What?
just visual. They're attacking.
Oh,
from
you're
No,
right.
go to dragon Knight.
Okay. Damn it.
I told
Well,
you.
technically, I'm right. They are human form. They're just attacking in range form now. So we're kind of both. I mean, technically, I am the right one here, Synderen. So human form in visual aspect only.
I don't really want to give you this one. I don't feel like you're right.
All right, Echo Stomp. Oh, all right. Mischief not able to dodge that. But it's not going to turn into any fight yet. So Vici Gaming, they have some crazy team fight. Haven't really talked about this much, but the Chronosphere into the Earth Splitter as Cuckoo jumps in with that Blink Dagger Enchant Totem. Here comes Zephyr as well. Starbreaker should cancel that Echo Stomp. And ends up being a freebie for T1. But yeah, a lot of setup, or not a lot of setup, but a lot of chrono damage once that's placed. And then once Weaver, Mr. PYW, I would assume goes for Ags next. If he's on the outside, you can... I mean, there's just so many options for Vici going forward. I really like their lineup.
It's pretty crazy, by the way. Carl is second on net worth now.
He's made a comeback.
Fully recovered, yeah. It's
I mean, part of it
very
is because of the
impressive.
deaths on Lina have set her back a bit.
For sure. And the big breadwinner currently is, of course, 23 Savage on the Monkey King. No big surprise there. It's a good lane for him against the double melee hero. Weaver,
Swarm onto
PYW.
Zephyr. 23 Savage is in the area, though, so looks to be fine. As Poyoyo on the Faceless Void has the Orb of Corrosion, excuse me.
Yeah, the
going
other item
for
doesn't
the
exist
Midas.
anymore.
Yeah, Orb of Destruction was deleted, in fact.
PYW.
PYW might be in some trouble.
He got
Sentry
dusted.
is for the other side. Oh, the time lapse, but right back into the arms of T1. So another finger charge for Whitemon. Is Earthsplitter actually coming in? He's going to connect on Cuckoo, trying to kill this annoying Wild Wing Ripper before his untimely death, I would assume. But 23 Savage has other plans. He gets off his ult with the Boundless Strike. Roar is there to keep them at bay, though. But it's going to be a second kill in favor of T1. And despite having that Roar, looks like this is going to be the death of Beastmaster as well. But here comes Poyoyo. He gets a big Chronosphere. Not that much follow-up, though. They're going to find one kill onto the Earthshaker. Is Ori being pursued by the Monkey. 23 Savage. As the Boundless Strike connects Whitemon in the vicinity. This is going to be another kill onto Ori. Just such a rough game for him after that really good start.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll get to why I'm laughing so hard right now. Let's see if he gets out.
Carl looks
No
fine.
dash.
All right, tell me why you're laughing, Cinder.
All right, so Carl blinks in for the follow-up when they're on the Lina, and he shoots his Breathe Fire like 500 range away. Misses it completely and plays the set.
Nice. Well, at least it's a good effort, though. That's
Yeah,
important.
and he is clearly having a laugh at it. Unfortunately for them, it didn't really matter, but that was funny. Oh my goodness. Well, it does happen. Misclicks happen even at the highest level, so it's a good thing that he can just laugh it off and continue on with the game. But yeah, Another good overall sequence here for T1. And I was gonna say, Weaver with this Vessel, you would imagine that, you know, depending on when you get this item, it can have like varying degrees of importance, right? You're playing against both Dawnbreaker, Monkey King, and Dragon Knight, and you got it early on your Weaver, so you really want PYW to be involved in kills. It helps so much until they start getting the BKBs on DK and Monkey. Unfortunately for him, though, he was the start of that fight. He got killed first as, they found out DY.
Yep.
He is toast.
Tons of stuns. Disabled for an eternity, so another death for DY. So T1 kind of withstanding the, I want to say the very early laning stage, and have bounced back to a very high degree now, as 23 Savage is top of the net worth, as we see a replay. This is what you were talking
They're
about?
showing us Carl. I like that in this highlight, we're all just looking for the
Let me see
fail.
this breathe fire. There he is. And all right.
It happens.
I mean, if you make an SFM on this and just change the angle, it ends up looking really epic, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But
Make sure you play the sad trombone in your video, though.
True.
It happens. All right, next move. I think it's time for Ichi Gaming soon to get something done here. 30 seconds on Chronosphere cooldown.
You were right. Zephyr is going for the Aghanim Scepter straight
away?
up.
Nice.
He's halfway there already.
It's a great choice in this game.
I mean, the cool thing about this hero is the support. I mean, we've talked about the lane pushing and all of that, but the fact that she can actually farm without really needing much, just the hammer alone, allows you to take out waves. Very tanky to boot. PYW. Looks like he's... is he actually
Carl
working on
connecting
Axe
top
himself?
here.
Yeah.
They're looking for another kill on PYW. They might get it with Dragon Tail.
Yeah, Dragon Tail initiation. Zephyr with the Starbreaker. They put Vision down a little bit late, so PYW is going to take a breathe fire in the trees, but won't be pursued any further. Yep. Carl's going to get roared. Laguna Blade to follow, but here comes the Solar Guardian. That's going to heal him up to a decent amount, or he just can't finish the kill quite yet. Carl getting pursued by PYW. One more right click should do it. Final note, he's in. The Chronosphere comes out, actually catches his teammate. Earth Splitter to follow. Whitemon is dead. Stomp onto basically everybody here, but 2 dead already for Vici Gaming, so advantage for T1. 23 Savage gets off the Wukong's command, trying to pursue a little bit further. They're going to find yet another kill. How has T1 stayed alive with everybody? And now trying to go for Puyoyo. Do they have the setup? Boundless Strike to start, the time walk to safety. I actually cannot believe Carl lived. That was
got
insane.
a stat for damage taken in that fight for Dragon Knight. That was crazy. He took so much damage for his team, and they don't get the kill. The thing is, not but, you know, he baits Weaver, doesn't find the kill, then he baits Elder Titan in, doesn't find the kill, and Vici Gaming just end up spending the entire time just desperately trying to at least get the kill they wanted to begin with. Solar Guardian coming in clutch there for sure.
Yeah, that
Zephyr changed everything.
And imagine when that gets buffed.
And imagine if they have
axe.
one vessel charge. That's what I mean, right?
True.
They just don't have it for that kill on PYW, so they don't get it. And it snowballs the whole fight. With one vessel charge there, he gets the kill, gets another charge. They can go on to the next hero and keep that fight going. But yeah, just not able to. T1 clutch with the saves.
So T1 rocking a 2K net worth lead. Not quite as big of a lead as you would think, considering the 14-6 kill advantage right now. And of course, Puyoyo, we brought this up, but has had that Hannah Midas for a while, so we'll see if that ends up paying dividends. Still working on the BKB, though.
Yeah.
About 800 away from finishing that bad boy.
Has found a Quicksilver Amulet. Nice item on Void. You get that quick swing timer for an early bash, which helps you get bash ready again faster.
Oh, double BKB just picked up by T1. So
it's big. 2
cores now.
And it's close on Dragon Knight too. Only 600 to go for him as well. 700, pardon me. Took your math class last week. Didn't help.
You're making fun of the American education system as Laguna Blade. Going to be used to destroy Zephyr, who, again, still... I mean, they're going to actually... Once they get these 3 BKBs up, they're only 800 away from that Ags on Dawnbreaker. That feels like a very big power spike.
It is a really big item this game, for sure. All right, Roche is opened up here for Vici Gaming with 25 seconds on Dawn. They do have Swarm level 4, which is really, really good for killing Roche. PYW is just going to tank Roche so the bug doesn't. In comes Puyoyo, so...
T1, though,
are aware.
They have Echo. Oh my god, this would be disgusting Echo Slam right
Smoke
now.
breaks.
Yep, Cuckoo in the vicinity. His blink gets canceled, but there's Carl with the initiation to start things out. Gets the Dragon Tail off. but Roshan looks like it's going to be taken out easily for Vici Gaming. They will lose the Elder Titan in tow, but there's the LSA actually catching the Earthshaker, so Cuckoo not really able to get off the initiation he was looking for.
Very good for Vici. They didn't have to use Chrono to secure the Roche either, so it means there's another play opening up for Poyoyo. He's gonna get enough gold for his BKB with that bounty rune picked up from Ori. So next move is on the horizon. Something else on the horizon. We're now past minute 20, so it's time for trivia.
Okay, I should have said 20 minutes.
You're gonna like this one, okay? What is the passive aura of Ring of Aquila called?
Is that is somebody equipping that item right now?
They took it off.
The passive aura. I have no idea.
Give me your best
Ring
guess.
of Basilius aura. That's what I'm calling.
Aquila aura.
Oh my god, that was actually not that bad. Not that far away. I get half a point for that?
No.
Okay, thanks.
I mean, you got aura right, but it's an aura, so I don't know if that counts.
That's half, technically.
It's like
You know
saying,
how you
what
feel
kind
about
of ice
technically?
cream is this? And then you say licorice ice cream, but it was orange ice cream. You're like, I was close. I got ice cream right. I mean, come on. Of course, it's ice cream.
It's still true, though. Carl. Oh, we got the Echo Slam come out with the BKB's activate. Can they blow up? Faceless Void, absolutely. Earth Splitter does a little bit of damage there, but a big kill on Poyoyo by 23 Savage, who's still top of the net worth right now.
Very swift kill. And of course, they do find the core on Vici Gaming that does not have the Aegis in that Void. So would not have gone for that play onto Aura with Shaker, I'm sure. They do find Poyoyo, so very nice here. Gonna delay that timing of the Aegis. There's still 3 minutes 20 left for Vici Gaming to try to use this Aegis to get mid-tier 1. I still think that's what you really want to try to grab with this, but unfortunately for Vici Gaming, struggling a little bit to get in, right? Like, that's the problem. There's no dagger on Old 11. Your catch is pretty limited without it. Void can commit a time walk into Chrono attempt.
But they have the Helm of the Overlord Center.
They
Old
do.
11, he's
They
got
have
the
a
big,
dragon.
juicy golem. No, it's the Golem. There's no
They used to
dragon.
have a dragon.
Now it's a Golem.
It died.
Yeah, this guy uppercuts like none other in the game. One of the best animations, in fact. Absolutely love this guy. As we see...
I wonder if his eyes glow in the dark.
That's a very random question.
They probably do, actually.
Okay, good to know.
Trivia.
Ori has the invisibility rune here. 23 Savage in the area with Wukong's command available, but of course they don't have Echo Slam, so this will be a little bit of difficult to hold, but 23 Savage does use the Wukong's command, gets roared inside his BKB form, but you can see Kuko and company just focusing on Ori. That is the Aegis down. DYW looking for a potential Echo Stomp here, but there's a jump in, a quick BKB by Ori, trying to turn it around. Laguna Blade takes off the head of Lion as Carl now trying to retreat, but there is the Chronosphere and the counteract from that Solar Guardian. I believe that is the Echo Slam Solar Guardian. Cinder, the Agnum Center, I should say. The evasion comes through as 23 Savage getting pursued now, completely surrounded. It's going to end up being an easy kill, surprisingly enough for Vici, as they continue to try to take T1 out. Echo Stomp onto 2. Now onto the high ground, they will attempt this as that Ogre is still beating the crap out of a dragon.
It is a golem.
What did I say?
Ogre.
Ogre Golem.
I'll give it. That's okay. It's
Yeah, it is.
Let's
That's
say
true. That's true.
Crazy fight. Like, what's really important in this for Vici Gaming is two things. First of all, the amount of spells that T1 need to use to get the Aegis in the first place. They use Monkey King's ult, which ends up expiring. So they just run out of damage on T1. They really need this Wukong's command to continue that fight. Echo Slam was not available, I think, for Kuko, or at least didn't find a good one. And they were hoping to instantly hex Ori out of the Aegis. He popped BKB faster than they could hex.
Yeah.
Lion dies instantly. You have a Dragon Knight out of position who's trying to Dragon Tail the Lina, so effectively, you just put yourselves in a really bad position when your spells were down. And in hindsight, it's easy for us to say, just take your Aegis kill, be happy with it, back off and lose the tower. But that was not going to work with the way T1 set that up, and they got punished for it pretty hard.
And keep in mind, they didn't have the Echo Slam still, so just came back off cooldown as they used it earlier to get a kill prior to that. But you can see the confidence from T1. Not having a big ultimate like that, still feeling like they can take him out, but the quick fingers from Ori.
And you did see the impact of Solar Guardian in that fight, by the way. He used it on the Chrono Dragon Knight, who took no damage from Void.
Yep.
He was actually healing while Dragon Knight, or while Void was attacking him. Just nothing coming out from Poyoyo onto that DK. So if things are set up a little bit better for T1, you're going to see that Solar Guardian play a really big role.
Top of the net worth, though, after dying a couple times, Cinderin, Ori Doing very well now. His score doesn't look that great, 3-4-3, but considering he started at 0-2 and 1,
yep,
has definitely bounced back, going for the MKB, which
Big item
he
from
went
Weaver.
Chrysalis first, so I'd assume as a Shadow Blade or the Silver Edge was planned, but switching it up now.
Yeah, he has to solve this Solar Guardian problem. As we talked about, both Lina and Void will likely be going that route, and they do indeed. Void is going to finish Sanj and Yasha, and then he's got it planned as well here, Puyoyo. So, you know, you can look at this from two perspectives. You can say glass half full or glass half empty. It's like, yeah, when they both get MKBs, how good is my Ags? But the other way of looking at it is, wow, I made 2 cores by MKB. Right?
Yeah.
So I
But
feel like
it's not
that's
like
worth the
MKB is
4,200 gold.
It's not like it's bad.
It's not a bad item, but it's not what they want, right? It's not the standard build that these two heroes will go for. They're doing it out of necessity here, not because they really want to.
Right.
So you force their hand with 1 support item, which is pretty nice for T1.
Vici Gaming sporting the 3K network lead. Now this game is super close. And again, just to reiterate the implications, if Vici loses this, they are out. And if T1 wins, IG is
They
the
are
next
not out.
opponent. That is technically correct, Cinder. Thank you.
And what do we say to that? Technically correct is?
The best kind of correct.
Thank you, Chan. You've been paying attention. That's very nice.
I feel like you're puppet.
I asked you earlier today, and you said terrible. And I
Yeah,
was like,
because I'm sick of interacting with you. I'm just sick of your shits. And
Understandable. Have a nice day.
Zephyr in the trees. He's being spotted out right now. Old 11. I mean, they're just trying to ensure that they will find this kill. They have to expend the roar, but it's going to be an easy one.
Yep. No problemo here.
It's like, hey, Puyoyo, would you like a kill by any chance?
Don't mind if I do. And yeah, the Roar is a relatively low commitment spell, right? It's 80-second cooldown on level 2 here for Old 11. So they just want to use that whenever they can to get a pick. And this is a very reliable place to find Dawn, by the way. Like we talked about the last couple of Dawnbreaker games we've cast, this hero will often gravitate to the top area on Dire to just push out that lane while the team plays together as 4. And then you want to connect with them with Solar Guardian. So Old 11 can keep sending Hawks up here in the tree line and has a very high chance of finding that Dawn. PYW with the Ags completed has found a Psychic Headband as well, so good cast range.
Yeah, that's
on
fortunate
that.
for
So
him.
it's 700 instead of 600.
Yeah, so time lapse can be used on allies with a very low cooldown of, I believe, 20 seconds. And the extra cast range now to follow. So this is, I mean, I feel like we talked this item up so much, and then in the games, at least the ones we've cast, it has been basically a non-factor. But theoretically speaking, it is super strong.
I feel like even in the games that... So we had one game where the LGD found this amazing chrono with Ame, right? Where Weaver couldn't reach.
Yeah.
But in the Secret versus... Who was it? In the
Yeah,
group,
there was
it
one-
Secret
there was one
Elephant, that marathon game where the Weaver Axe did so much work for Elephant. They did lose though, but it was super impactful in that game for sure. PYW hiding off to the side here. If 23 Savage were to get eyes on him, this could be trouble, but he's going to TP out with Rikuchi.
And this 23 Savage just continuing to farm up. So any items of note, Cinder, that we should be looking forward to? I mean, Old 11, we already talked about the Helmet of the Overlord and the Blink Dagger, of course. Looks like Refresher. It's, I mean,
He can
not a huge
barely
surprise.
support that with his mana, to be honest, but it might just work
That's
out.
true. Oh, we got the Dragon Tail to start things out on the PYW. Do the burst damage indeed. PYW with
Easy
another
pick.
death to his name and another
that
charge
is the
for
hero you want to
Finger.
find as T1, because anyone else could get saved by Weaver at any point. And your single target burst on T1 can kill one hero one time. That's basically the limit, right? You have Finger of Death, Dragon Tail, Boundless Strike, and maybe a Fissure. If the target gets time-lapse, you can't do it all over again with the lineup that you have. So very important, if possible, to get on top of that Weaver.
Oh, double damage bottom.
Yep. Ori is
Oh, the
fancying his
hex from
chances.
Whitemon. He's actually going to leave him for 23 Savage, and that is another death now for Ori. Very unfortunate. It's Cuckoo.
So cocky.
Echo Slam BKB.
I mean, from our perspective, obviously this looks crazy, right? He doesn't have the exact vision that would allow him. I mean, okay, let's take a look down there again, right? So they do have an Observer Ward in the Radiant, but they only have the one that oversees the river, not the enemy side of the river. So Ori just, how to say, he gets a false feeling of safety there from the ward. If he didn't have the ward, I don't think he would have gone for the rune.
Right.
So the ward actually working against him here and giving him that that safety feeling that wasn't there, and T1 punished very quickly with the Blink Lion, get a huge kill on
This is still scary. I mean, 30 seconds death timer for Lina, but you're going against Chronosphere, you're going against Elder Titan, quite possibly top 3 Roche defenders in the game.
Yeah. And you're going against Void ET, and they're going to give up.
I just said that.
Yeah.
Yep, they're against Void ET.
You didn't say they gave up.
Okay, true. Old 11 just biding his time here. Can obviously gain so much vision with these Hawks. He does have the Shard as well, by the way, which reduces the cooldown of the Hawk and gives you the... What is the actual ability called?
Dive Bomb.
Dive Bomb for the suicide mission for those Hawks.
That is an awesome skill name.
Yeah.
I like that one a lot. That's
Yep,
good.
I agree. As we now have a smoke from Vici. Looks like Carl did finish his AC, so very, very
Cool.
tanky.
Okay. Or he just walks into the pit and looks around the pit and walks
like,
out.
Nobody here.
It's like he saw Roshan for the first time. Nope.
Yeah. Both teams very cautious right now, for good reason. This game, obviously, a fairly big deal. Echo Stomp from afar, Poyoyo. He's going to get Dragon Tail to start things out, but Carl looks like he might be regretting his decision, just waddling away right now. Time dilation on top of him. Has to pop his ult along with the BKB, trying to turn this around onto the Void. They get him to about half HP, but doesn't look like they can actually finish off Poyoyo.
They're worried about committing because they don't see PYW, so they don't want to throw spells into the air and get no value. They need some insane burst catch there to kill him before the Weaver can react, and they don't have it.
I like this. They need to fight now. They've already popped the Dragon Form and his BKB.
Elder Titan is going to see them, though. Astral Spirit, if he
Yep,
is paying
Cuckoo.
attention, he gets the feedback there.
Ori showing himself. Oh, the initial. Oh, they actually missed the stun there from Cuckoo. And he'll have to hightail away here. 23 Savage does get off his ult with the Boundless Strike as well. Poyoyo pops his BKB. They're going to blow up the Lion, and Cuckoo's dead next. That means T1 likely will try to fall back, but that is the buyback now from Cuckoo. 23 Savage on the trees. He gets roared mid-leap. They're going to see him. They're going to drop that tree, and down goes the Monkey King.
Huge fight for Vici. They find 3 kills, and one of them buys back, and on a core, they're the Shaker. And if T1 want any chance of holding this Roche, they're going to need more of those buybacks. They can't hold that with these 3. There's not enough damage between them.
Yeah.
Unless all 5 of Vici Gaming's heroes go together in a huddle and get Echo Slammed, you're not winning this fight, and Vici Gaming will not do that.
So this is Roche number 2. Vici Gaming going to get the Aegis likely on Ori. Poyoyo, I would assume, takes the Shard. And he does indeed. So that's going to give him the extra cast range on Time Walk and the reverse Time Walk, which looks funny, but is actually not bad for baiting spells.
Right. It's a very good way of getting vision. I think that's the most underappreciated part of the spell, is that you can jump and get it, gather information and jump out.
It is a little bit hairy against the Lion, though.
Yeah, it
in
can
the
be
right
tricky
situation.
for sure. But against most lineups, you will be able to jump in, get a little bit of intel, jump out, and maybe that sets up your team for success. Maybe you break a smoke, maybe you bait a spell, like you said. There's a lot of upsides to this.
Vici Gaming taking control of the outpost now, and you can see in terms of the tower pressure, they have top basically down. The tier 1 and tier 2, so the tier 2 mid will likely be their next choice. But bottom lane, the tier 1 is still there. So, see what they want with this Aegis. If they attempt to go high ground, again, with a Weaver, with that Axe, I feel like going high ground is not that risky, depending on what T1 can try to do to counteract that.
That's true. You could put the, as long as Lina has vision, which you can give her perhaps with a Hawk from an angle, she can just hit the tower from the low ground even.
Oh, they have vision here. They know that. Oh, actually,
Carl.
that's T1's vision.
Carl gets
He's going to be
clipped
spotted.
by the
Yep, that's no Blink Dagger for you. Poyoyo jumps in. Laguna Blade, goodbye, Carl. And even if he bought back, he will not have Dragon Form for quite a while.
True. Earth Splitter for the fireworks as well. I didn't want to give him any chance there. DY, they throw everything at him, and, well, most of it sticks. The only thing that doesn't stick was the one that was too late. So a nice kill for them, and that's going to be at least tier 1. I don't think tier 2 is possible. Obviously, the wave bottom Zephyr has done a great job pushing that all the way into the enemy tier 2. But honestly, what Vici Gaming could do here is go high ground mid.
I thought they would do that, yeah.
They can definitely do that. Now, 3 minutes on Lina's Aegis. You know there's no DK. Force that buyback and go with it that way. They're going to cut this wave first, though. Still have enough time. They're going to just try to backdoor the tower. Okay. Well, DD on Lina will do that with Beastmaster Aura.
Can they?
There is Glyph if they want to, but they're probably going to save that for high ground, you imagine. Yep, they're going to give it up.
Oh, no.
They're not.
So it's going to regen a bit as a result, and Vici Gaming
is going to regen.
Wondering whether there's going to be a hold here or not, but as we can see, that is not going to happen.
We can watch this tower regen for another 10 seconds if we want. It's going to take a while to heal up to full, but... Oh, they're going back
Even
in.
longer now to heal up.
Okay,
as,
they can do it without the DD.
I mean, imagine uppercutting a building. The fact that he can uppercut a building is impressive.
Yeah.
This granite golem.
Very big boy.
Big boy indeed. All right, we got the Scotty online for 23 Savage, but Poyoyo has one of his own, which against this lineup, against Dawnbreaker, Monkey King, and Dragon Knight, extremely good for the counter regen. Carl jumps in, has his ult activated as well. They will go. The time lapse again saving Ori, but he's going to get bursted down very slowly. The Aegis goes down despite using the BKB. Chronosphere on top of 2, but there's the Solar Guardian. You can see how much Cuckoo is healing, but the Laguna Blade just rips right through him. No buyback on the Earthshaker. It's a 5v4 just like that.
Splitter.
Yep, we got the Earth Splitter coming out. Trying to apply this pressure to Zephyr right now. A nice Starbreaker, but Poyoyo should be able to finish him off as most of T1 just hightailing back to base. Carl gets taken out. No Dragon Form for you. And Vici Gaming look primed and ready to force a game number 3, Cinderin.
23 Savage having a bit of an identity crisis, saying, I'm not scared, bro, I'm Cuckoo. No, sir, Cuckoo is your teammate on Earthshaker who died before you, trying to find a kill on a Weaver.
Yeah, GG's going to be called.
Yeah.
It is
nice game for Vici Gaming.
So difficult to play into Weaver Aghanim Scepter. I mean, they had to kill Cuckoo several times over, but they did so regardless. And T1 now potentially, I mean, they're both on the brink of elimination, technically speaking, Cinderin.
Loving the adjustments from Vici Gaming this game. I really think they got a much better game. The key part for me, even though Ori got ganked a bit, again, the tables were turned in the game from the get-go, right? He's winning his lane. He's forcing the rotations onto him from the enemy team, and it just opens up for both the Beastmaster to maybe get a better game than you could have expected, especially both Faceless Void and Weaver crushing the bottom lane as well. As a result of that, they just end up getting so many victories across the map. And that really, to me, is one of the key parts. And Vici Gaming's lineup, just both drafts are great. But ultimately, Vici Gaming come out ahead with that awesome team fight, and of course the Weaver save to close it out in the end. But yeah, what a nice game. Honestly feels like Game 3 is anyone's game. These two teams are very evenly matched. This game was close a lot of the way. So
that's right, Cinderin. Very well said. My goodness, you are such a good analyst. I'm so lucky to be right next to you right now. But
saying was that Vici Gaming.
Mengatakan apa yang ku rasa,
Dire Team's turn to ban.
put my snakeskin bag. Because this one, my friends, is in it.
Oh, it's so in the bag. Remember what happened the last time you said that?
Shh. 30 seconds to battle.
Lại nha, lấy tảo rồi nha.
This ain't no snowball fight. First blood!
First blood. Just a little.
Sayu.
You did not earn it.
My venom sacs run empty.
Dire's bottom tower needs some help.
It's really important for these teams to reset, like we mentioned earlier, and like VG Gaming said, they want, like, the last time that this happened, they
Now.
didn't do well in their next game. Now, on the other hand, what can T1 do to really reset this? Do they need to change up their strategy a little bit? Aiden, you mentioned earlier.
I won't give up. Another kill for me! No, me!
Dire's structures are fortified.
That was very thoughtful.
No.
Ooh, Dire's courier got killed. Those things aren't cheap, you know.
No good for you. I'll take that.
Bye.
Stand is close to the heart of a star.
Worthy tribute.
Infinito.
Darkness quells my spirit.
Dire's middle tower isn't going to last long. Radiant's top tower
Not
deserves
ever.
just as much help as bottom.
I only wanted to kill everyone.
Have you learned your limits? Or are you just warming up?
Radiant's middle tower could use some help.
I will remember you in my celebrations.
Plague our enemies.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
New treasures.
Damn it.
Are those cracks in Dire's top tower? Dire's top tower is under attack. They're beating on Dire's top tower. Dire's top tower has fallen. Radiant's middle tower shouldn't have to take this abuse.
Who's next? I've got all day.
Oh, I miss you.
Killing spree. Someone better help Dire's middle tower. Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Regeneration.
Dire's bottom tower is being chipped away. They're beating on Dire's top tower. Dire's top tower is under attack. Dominating.
Just for good measure. Just to make sure he's dead.
How's my second chance?
Dire have fortified their
Reached an end?
structures. Double kill.
Of death.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower's got problems. Dire's middle tower just went down. Someone better help Dire's middle tower.
Good for me. Haste.
I guess Radiant fortified their structures. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
New treasures.
Radiant's middle tower could use some help. Radiant's middle tower shouldn't have to take this abuse.
Single heroes in your first fight is all you need them to go. On the flip side, Vici Gaming's heroes, Tiny, incredible carry. He hits his timing so quickly, and he can honestly feel like the strongest hero on the map. Especially when it comes to hitting buildings, they die so quickly.
Are those cracks in Dire's top tower?
in new against T1, and then in game 2 it's like, well, okay, that didn't work out, so that's obviously not right. And then game 2 they changed that around. They didn't pick anything too crazy. It was a bit of a different style, but it worked out. And so I feel like Vichi's just what they said in the interview about having pocket picks and not having to reveal all of their heroes, it actually did turn out to be true for them.
And sure, you can say group stage meta versus playoff meta, but the reason why Tiny hasn't been that prevalent in the main event is just because he's been banned out so much.
Fair
So I really do still think this is the strongest carry in the game, and if you can get your hands on him, you should.
We saw it on OG actually, where there was a moment, I will never forget that play because I think it's ridiculous, where Samael was alone and there were 4 heroes around him, and they decided the best option was to retreat.
To run away from him, yeah.
Yeah, so Enchantress is kind of rising up a little bit throughout today, but it's because she was picked up against an Omni Knight, which makes her all the more valuable. But in terms of laning, Enchantress is incredibly strong against Monkey King because you can dispel the Jingu stacks, but also you can just get a creep and whack away at him, right? Ideally, you don't want this Monkey King to play on Tide's lane, so just have the Enchantress follow him.
Yeah, true. Even if it's a 5 position, you can still put your 5 in the off lane. Even if you're not giving a farm priority, you can do that just to like win the Monkey King lane, which would make me think that the Monkey King will probably end up being a support. But then there's another way that you could go with that, where you just say, okay, it's a core, but you're just not going to level Jingu. You're just going to play to like push out the creep wave, which I imagine would just depend on what T1 picks. Like if you're playing against Tide as Monkey King, you probably
that's an Ori hero we haven't seen in a while.
They said they had other heroes. Other teams just haven't beat their initial heroes first, right? And we're seeing the Shadow Fiend. But just to quickly touch on the Disruptor, he's such a good hero versus Tidehunter because you just drop Static Storm on him and he can't really dispel anything. He dies. And he's a very good catch. Also, if Magnus finds a good RP and Disruptor isn't in it, he can drop the Static Storm on top of him and stop the skewer back, which is always really nice, right? And obviously Disruptor, one of the best catches in the game.
Same with Horn Toss as well.
Yeah, I agree. Horn Toss is a great ability.
No, I mean like same with Horn Toss, the Static Storm point. Like, you don't need to RP anymore. You can just Horn Toss. That still takes a second. You can drop Static Storm.
Yeah, true. Yeah, the Disruptor can. You just looked at me when you said Horn Toss as well. I like Shadow Fiend. I think Shadow Fiend's an underrated hero in my opinion. Because the minus armor right-clicking build only started like a month or so in pubs prior to TI, and obviously like there was the occasional, like at some point there was like drums SF, but I mean like this one where you're going for Daedalus, where you're like trying to one-shot people essentially, where you're playing with like the Dragonlance, the Satanic, essentially playing like a Lina, and I think that style of SF fits this meta, and for a long time people have been doing like the Yule's Blink stuff, which it's cool and it's flashy, but it never works out. It never works out.
I agree.
Shadow Fiend is a hit or miss hero, and I know some people in particular, if they see him, they say, I will not root for this draft, right? But think about it in the bigger picture. Like right now, do they have the damage to take down Shadow Fiend? Not really, and they're gonna have to correct that, right? Because Magnus, sure, he can blink on him and skewer him back, but Tide support and Ench support aren't really going to kill him. So I think maybe we could see something like a Leshrac come out of T1 just to correct the damage issues and play on these big cooldowns. But also, because of Shadow Fiend's enjoyment of buying Silver Edge, he will enjoy Tidehunter and Enchantress, right? Right-click them, kill him. Simple as that. Batrider's that damage hero we were talking about.
I want to point out that Kuko was revered for ages as being one of the best Batriders in SCA, if not the best. Carl was also considered that. They have 2 of the best Batrider players in SCA in this team.
Agreed, and actually, Carl was playing Batrider when nobody was playing Batrider, right? Do you remember that DK patch? And some people would say, hey, this looks like a good Bat game, and they'd play it and they'd lose, and they said, okay, this hero is not good.
I remember that. That was rough.
Until he got buffed a few patches later and was a monster, and then he got nerfed again. But Carl believed in the hero from the get-go, and
he won.
He would always try to go for the Batrider games whenever he could. So this is a comfort pick for sure. And he does function similarly to Leshrac in that that's the damage we were talking about. They really need to fix it. But I think they still need a little bit more damage.
This is like the perfect Batrider game, and every single time I say that, I jinx it, and then the Batrider just gets horribly owned. So that was at the Animajor. This is TI. It's just maybe going to be different.
With Disruptors, not most.
Yeah, he can't.
Well, I was going to say, following that, but I don't think that's what makes Batrider good anymore. I think that's an old-fashioned way of thinking about Batrider. The way you play Batrider now is you get Boots of Travel, you get BKB second item. People don't even go for Blink Dagger anymore on Batrider oftentimes. It'll be like Octarine Core, Shiva's Guard, things like that. Even like an early Refresher. And it's all about just doing tons of damage, and he's one of the few heroes. Have you ever played Tiny versus Batrider? He doesn't care that you exist. He doesn't care that you have 3,000 HP because Batrider, it doesn't matter. You need like magic resistance to deal with the Batrider, and you don't get that on a Tiny carry.
True, and if you just want to look at the laning picture, just Batrider should have such an easy time versus Shadow Fiend. And you know, Monkey King support has to set up on trees and side lanes, right? That's typically how you fight the hero. You look for that good opportunity, you give vision, you drop the Wukongs. But Batrider's just going to break through
It's
all
a hard
those
counter.
trees.
It's a hard counter. Yeah, 100%.
It functions similarly to Dawn that we've seen being picked against Monkey King, and you just throw the hammer and all the trees are gone. So looking rough for our boy Monkey King.
Yeah,
here.
this is like arguably the worst Monkey King game, at least that I've seen in this tournament, because you have the Enchantress. If you're playing a core Monkey King, you have the Enchantress to purge the Jingu, and then if you're playing a support Monkey King in the trees, you have a Batrider that's just going to break you off of the trees and kill you. And you can. The thing with Monkey King is like, the way that you play it is you sit in side lanes and then you push waves out. But Batrider builds Boots of Travels. He's literally one of the best heroes in the game at killing people who are sitting in side lanes. Like, you cannot play that style of Monkey King versus a Batrider. You can't play. It's really rough.
Last pick, Vengeful Spirit, which I'm assuming, judging by the draft, it's an off-lane Vengeful Spirit.
Yeah, so the first thing that you can see here is you swap and you save the lasso target, which is incredibly valuable. And there's also that extra minus armor that they're going for with this SF, and of course the Tiny is going to benefit from it as well. My issue with the VS is just she's going to need to have a good start, right? But so far, like, you look at these two supports, Tide and Enchantress, and they're not that scary. They're just... Enchantress is very strong on lane, but Tide is a Ravage, basically. So she should have an okay time.
I agree with that, and I feel like that's why they're going to put Tide off lane, Mag mid, or Mag carry, and then... Just kidding. Nope. Okay, just kidding. Okay, that is a Tide support, or Magnus support.
I don't think you want support mag at all. Like,
Zephyr Tide.
That hero needs farm priority. Okay,
I mean,
so
I'm just guessing.
Jenkins. So 23 Savage, who loves his Wraith King, one of the only players who really believes in this hero and asks for it. And the way that T1 have played it in this tournament, they just go for Armlet, Deso, and they just run you over, right? And if you pair it up with this Batrider, he gets his timings, and this Magnus, who's going to empower 23 Savage to hit his timing earlier, I can see them actually succeeding in doing what they want to.
Tell me the strengths of Vichi's then.
The strength of, I was going to say I really favor the T1.
No,
T1
tell me
draft.
the strengths for Vici
The strengths for Vici Gaming, well, they have a ton of minus armor and right-click damage in the late game. If the game goes late, they're definitely going to win, but I don't think it's going to go late.
Okay, that's a traditional Vici thing.
Their Roche potential is like quite high if they get a good fight somewhere, right? And Shadow Fiend can farm quickly enough to hopefully match Batrider if he doesn't get ganked, right? So Enchantress and Tide aren't the best heroes in ganking SF, so you can actually guarantee that he's going to have an okay time, right?
Well, now that we have gotten the game, we need to find out how to break this game down, and that's why we have the last word segment. And what do you need to get rid of the last word? You need a purge.
Incredible throw. I'm really impressed. It's going to be a pretty cool game. We saw the Bat come out at an interesting point in the draft, which is going to put a lot of the Vici heroes on the back foot because Bat is so effective against the enemy lineup. Against SF, you get on top of him, you don't give him that triple raise. Yeah, he's got some right click, but it's a bit of a downside. So I think the Bat is really going to be the core hero we got to watch this game. How is he going to do in the laning stage? How is he going to do in the mid game with these ganks? Vici did try to offset that a little bit with the Venge pick so that they can actually swap Bat out of position or save whoever gets grabbed. There are tools that they can use to end it, but let's hop into the game here. Take it away, casters.
I love it when people throw it always like just casters, just very anonymous. Purge, I thought we were closer friends than that. Is it because I berate you for not asking for bacon? Sunspan here with Cinderin. Game 3 of this best of 3 Vici Gaming versus T1. Loser goes home. Winner faces off against the dominant IG. Cinderin, thoughts on this lineup? We get to see Vengeful Spirit. It's been a while.
Yep.
The minus armor strat with the Shadow Fiend. Looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of upsides to both strategies here, honestly. I will say, from my perspective, I've had a couple of games in this tournament I've been like, wow, this is just an amazing Batrider game, and it just hasn't really shown up that much. I do love the way Carl usually plays it, though, so that has me a bit hopeful for T1. I think Batrider has to own in this game for it to really work, because if he doesn't, I just foresee the problem of T1 that the damage just becomes overwhelming. This Vici Gaming lineup has so insanely much damage. After they get 1 or 2 key items, we know what Venge Ags does to the game. She will be a terrible target for the RP. For once, there's a hero you really don't want to RP, there's a hero you don't want to lasso, and Old 11 can effectively just play as like a frontline vision hero once he gets that Ags. So would imagine T1 will try to play very aggressive around their bat and see if they can get off to a good start off that lane primarily.
I mean, again, Magnus makes it through Cinderin. Tiny makes it through, in fact. Treant Protector Band. Obviously, we saw T1 use that. It didn't have the biggest impact in the game that we specifically cast, but you can see the respect for T1, one of the few teams to bring something like that out. But Magnus, again, hero of the tournament for sure. As Payoyo is playing the position 1 Tiny this time around, and looks like Cuckoo, again, Magnus. No surprise. But we're looking at Carl mid against Ori. This is Batrider versus Shadowfiend. Shadowfiend feels like very susceptible to an early death here, but he has the advantage going right off the bat. Oh, deny. All right. As we have first blood, Whitemon actually takes out PYW. It's an unexpected kill, Cinderin.
Yeah. Obviously, Enchantress rotating down here for the 3-man gank will yield some sort of success, and Vici Gaming maybe not expecting this rotation, but yeah, I think it's important for T1 to help out this bottom lane. You're playing Wraith King Tide at the start against Monkey King Venge. I think that's going to be, you know, Venge usually a hero we talk about how much are you going to lose the lane. Can actually win that one, but
Zephyr gets brought down top. Cuckoo still only level 1 right now, just getting completely harassed out. Throwing the tree, getting him very low. I mean, Monkey King just against any melee hero. Pretty rough, in addition to having Tiny to have to worry about.
And now the swap again. Vici Gaming are going to send the Disruptor bottom now to Venge instead of that Monkey King with the rotation that Monkey made top. And what this means is you now have double range against Wraith King, something he also doesn't like facing very much. Ench can't find a creep with this enchant. All the camps are blocked here. He has to go very far left to the Centaur camp that is currently presenting itself. Probably will see Whitemon do that, and maybe see if he can look for a backstab move with that into the Wraith King, or off the Wraith King Wraith Fire Blast. But yeah, Whitemon just looked and he was like, oh well, guess there's nothing for me. Comes back to lane, and this is good news for Vici Gaming in that bot lane, I think. Venge should have an okay time. And
yeah,
and okay is enough for Venge a lot.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of games with Venge off lane where it actually does horribly in the laning state and still has huge impact once you get the Agnum Scepter. So if you're able to not have a terrible start, then that's just going to make your game even better. But, I mean, what is the reason we haven't been seeing Venge as much? I mean, there was a slight nerf to the Ags, but I feel like it wasn't that big.
I still thought Venge was going to be a pretty big pick this tournament. I'm as surprised as you are. Like, I don't know if you're surprised. You just asked the question.
Very surprised. Whitemon and company going on top of Old 11. So we talked about the laning stage for this hero as DY looks to be next on the list for T1. Now, one more right click will do it. In fact, the Wraith Fire Blast being expended, so 23 Savage with an early double kill for T1.
Yeah, they bring down the Tide there to get that extra kill, but as a matter of fact, Venge just died to the dual lane. They were trying to kill Whitemon, but he obviously has Nature's Attendance and a Fairy Fire, and Venge Disruptor did not have enough in the tank, so regretting that go. They don't necessarily have to kill in this lane. You just need Venge to farm, and you can maybe poke and prod a little bit at the Wraith King, but I think going on Ench is a recipe for getting countered. T1 with a very good response there. It's going to find now a Wild Wing Ripper. Very annoying creep to lane against.
Yeah, it almost feels like you kind of want to stun that thing.
Yeah.
The tornado is super, super annoying. As you can see, Ori obviously aware that Zephyr was bot lane, so kind of weary of a potential gank here because, I mean, Shadowfiend, one of the mid heroes that just has zero escape mechanism, and if you have enough sticky napalm stacks, it just feels like an inevitable death.
Ganking SF feels very, very good. He doesn't have... He's very snowbally, right? He needs to start.
Looking like a kill going the way of Vici, so kind of left to his own devices, and 23 Savage gets punished.
Yeah, this mid lane gank... Oh, he's almost dying to the boys. Old 11. DY's going to block the boys. Oh, he canceled the salve.
Okay.
Salve too early. Bit of a mistake there from DY. It's going to cost Old 11 effectively 400 health. That he didn't just wait another second, and that's big because now that Wraith King is coming back to lane, he's very confident and very in a great position to just challenge. Whereas before he would have to be a little bit careful, and now the rotation's coming in from T1. They're going to find DY.
Yeah, Whitemon and Zephyr making the rotation bot. This is looking like a potential another kill onto Old 11 at the very least. You can see the fat, juicy, tanky Zephyr taking a lot of damage. It will be brought down thanks to the rotation of PYW. So it's a 1-for-1 exchange. It's like a roaming Tidehunter in this game. You don't see that every day.
The dynamic in this game is very interesting. There's two heroes in this game that have good farm. Wraith King and Tiny with 27 CS.
Yeah.
Everyone else, it's getting okay now. Both Batrider and Shadow Fiend just got a decent amount of influx from some stacks, but the CS number is relatively low for what we usually see. Magnus sitting on a measly 9 here. Cuckoo has been very having a hard time top from that early tri-lane, and Tiny of course challenges him very well in terms of just raw last hit damage with that Quelling Blade and 85. Cuckoo trying to...
As mid lane, the push continues now. Zephyr still roaming as this Tidehunter. Whitemon's going to find DY with the tomato creep. He's doing a lot of damage thanks to that Hellbear Smasher ability. Is DY getting chased? Looks like Cuckoo took a tumble in the top lane and getting tipped. Oh boy. Yeah, that is not good. Cuckoo having a really rough time right now. And that is not something that we're used to seeing from T1. It feels like he's one of the more I mean, everybody's relatively stable, of course, but from their offlane perspective, very much so. Carl, Firefly onto PYW. Boundless Strike going to keep him in place for now. Zephyr with that gush, slowing him down to a crawl. And with a bunch of heroes from T1.
Absolutely no problem for Carl. He has haste. As he could have soloed that Monkey King, no problem. But the reason this rotation is so good is that they have extra reinforcements against the defense to try to hold this tier 1 tower, and you really want to push this if you're T1. Might even see Enchantress start tanking it and get a second point in Nature's Attendance, but I guess he also would like to have an impetus point at this point. No, he's going to skill it now. So 2 in the heal for Whitemon. Looking to perhaps backstab Ori. Zephyr was coming in, but
Thunderstrike is going to spot out Zephyr. He's going to take it 3 Shadow Fiend raises. And Ori
in top lane,
Poyoyo, okay, going a little bit too deep. As this tower looks to be falling, it will be a deny in favor of T1.
He got the enemy offlane tower minute 7 as Tiny.
But he did die.
He did die, but
which is something Cuckoo really needed.
Very unusual this early in the game.
Yeah, especially solo.
Yeah. So probably feels pretty good about that.
We got the glimpse out.
Base.
Carl at least will get his bottle back.
No, he didn't.
Wait, he didn't actually give the bottle in time?
Where is the bottle?
It should be on Tide. It's on
Tide doesn't have the bottle either.
Okay, it
it's in the base on the courier.
Oh, okay. He doesn't want to walk back to the mid lane, I guess. All right, well, he's got the bottle charged. Yeah. Just delayed, you know, for weather. That's a very common excuse from delivery people, I'm sure. PYW finds Whitemon in the river, gets off the Boundless Strike with the kinetic field. This is going to be an easy one for Visha. Wait, healing up now. PYW continuing to chase. You can see the Nature's Attendance. That's the Crimson Witness, Cinderin, giving extra heal, I'm sure.
I think a bit of a mistake there from Ori. He started with the long raise. I think he needs to use the kinetic field to connect the mid raise so that he can hit the long raise afterwards, but doing them in opposite order effectively gave Whitemon a chance to escape, and he will get away. So, nice escape from him there. And a very even game right now, which I think is overall pretty good for Vici Gaming. They weathered the storm against the Bat. Carl hasn't really been dominating yet. They're going to find this time Whitemon will not get away. Oh, that second raise was
a little off.
Pretty much a tribute to the Breathe Fire.
The Breathe Fire.
Some fair play here from Ori. The 2 mid laners might need to warm up their mice a little bit, but again, inconsequential in the big picture here. Still find the kill, but the gold will go to Old 11 instead, and honestly that might end up being a blessing in disguise that he misses this raise. I think Venge's Aghanim Scepter is the single biggest item for the Dire to get in this game.
It's true.
So,
yeah,
Ori gonna deny mid.
Looking to finish his Echo Saber with another 1,000 gold or so. But yeah, you're right. The Venge Ag. I mean, do you just go straight for it these days? I guess so. He already has the Blade of Alacrity. So just treads into Ags is the choice here.
Yep.
can't blame him for that at all. As we look for the farm on 23 Savage right now. He's going for the armlet into Deso build. Hasn't quite finished the armlet yet.
Heavy minus armor is pretty good against, I would say, Tiny and especially Shadow Fiend. It allows them to... You want to have a hero on this T1 lineup that bursts in lasso, so that you can find that kill during the lockdown that you have, or bursts in RP. And when you have Deso as well as Armlet together with Empower, your raw damage output... We have a funny clip from the other day when T1 was playing Alliance, and FNG was getting literally one-shot by Wraith King as Lion. You can reach that stage again in this game for Disruptor.
Feel like we've seen this before.
Yeah. Whitemon is effectively a scout in this game, kind of playing like a bounty hunter. Trying to invade and get vision and information, gets punished there, but could set up Carl. They have Ops Sentry though, they know Carl is approaching.
Yeah.
And they're kind of trying to bait him. There's the glimpse.
Oh, the glimpse back into the static Storm Kinetic Field combo. This is going to be a really big kill for Vici. And Carl getting absolutely punished.
Goes to DY though. Disruptor will finally be getting his Boots of Speed.
Wow, that's quite the purchase.
DY has been pretty poor this game. It's 11 minutes in for Boots, and honestly a pretty important item for Disruptor. This hero is all about keeping up so you can reach the glimpse. So feels good for him to get that. 23 Savage just getting eyed up by Old 11 here as well, but they're not going to go for anything just yet.
Yeah, and he is actually he just put a point into his ult now.
Shannon, we're 11 minutes in.
Nope, it's not time yet, Cinderin.
It's trivia time.
PYW gets lassoed. That's going to be the cancel of the TP. So Carl looking to have, I believe that's his first kill of the game here. Sorry, he's 2-1 now.
Yep. A nice pickup on a support there. Not the biggest kill ever, but obviously going to take what he can get with these travels. Has to expend the lasso, which means for the next minute and a half, can't really find a core with it, but for the most part, Carl right now just wants to push out waves and farm and get toward the BKB, which is a true game changer against the Dire lineup. Still needs to respect the Venge swap, but that's pretty much the only problem he'll have for a bit until the right clicks become too powerful.
And we had a glimpse out, 23 Savage. It's not going to be a rune to take because it is top. And Carl gets it. It is the haste rune. Cuckoo's still working on... He actually did not finish the Helm of the Dominator, did he? He's just going straight for the Blink Dagger, despite having the Helm of Iron Will already built there. Is Old 11 going to be caught out? Oh, the swap out. It's going to keep him alive now. Or he actually pops a Requiem of Souls, mostly for zoning purposes, but Whitemon takes heavy damage, will live though. Ravage comes out, the Static Storm on top of him is a little bit too late. Anchors match into the Skewer, 2 dead for Vici, as they are now on the run. And it looks like Ori is next on the list, and they're in 3 dead. Very good fight for T1. Looks like PYW will be the 4th if they can catch him here. Zephyr looking for the high 5, but PYW not looking to reciprocate here. Oh, Flame Break off of the tree.
Pick pull so good, almost got out.
Yeah, pick pull not quite good enough now. He would need like 110% movement speed buff on that one.
Yeah, that was just kind of panic mode from Vici Gaming there. I think if they keep their cool a little bit more, they can find a better Requiem than that one, but obviously he was trying to save Old 11 so they could reset out. Just not happening against this Magnus Batrider combination. They just catch up, find picks, and 23 Savage gets a lot of gold out of this as well, finding a tower. He got the kill on Old 11. So now making a significant gap down to the Tiny here. 1,500 gold ahead. Glimpse.
Glimpse back, Whitemon.
Oh, look who it is.
Indeed, cancel TP. Not tanky enough yet.
It's only level 5, 14 minutes in. Gave over the tome to Tide, so Zephyr's level 8.5.
Well, the Ravage did pay off, to be fair.
Absolutely.
And Carl was taking out a pretty big stack of creeps there. And just working on his BKB. It's funny how the Batrider build has kind of changed over the years. Used to just be about getting Blink first.
Yeah.
Then there was an Aether Lens build with Ags. There was drums. Now it's just pretty much every game is Boots of Travel into BKB.
Yeah. Travel's BKB is just an insane build in this patch. It is, in my opinion, almost always the best build. Sometimes you can deviate from it if there's a lot of BKB counters or if you feel like you can't really connect, but just, this hero is completely based around movement inside a fight where you get on top of heroes, and these are the perfect items, right? You want the speed and you want the immunity so you can move freely. So logically it just makes a lot of sense to build the hero like this, and interestingly, it took quite a while before players really caught on to this build. I don't remember who pioneered it in this patch, but we saw a couple of players still go for the Blink 4 staff for a while until eventually now we reached a point where almost every bat will default to this style of play.
So we now have a smoke from Vici, but I'm not sure if they're going to catch anybody. Although 23 Savage is in the general area, but looks like he's going to the bottom jungle in all likelihood. So just be more of a warding expedition for Vici. So the triangle is now envisioned for them. 23 Savage, top of the net worth right now by 1,000 difference actually between him and Poyoyo.
Poyoyo
does have his echo save.
There was almost 1,500 2 minutes ago, so he has caught up a little bit on the Tiny, but definitely Wraith King is in a great position. DY with the glimpse, he's still going to get
Wraith Fire Blast still
trouble.
connects though into the Flame Break. Static Storm on top of himself.
Nice try.
Not going to save him.
But no cigar.
And now Deso officially